followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, this will be led by Councilmember Dr. Esters. Colleagues, do you want to add anything to the meditation? Councilmember Hernandez?
I'd like to, I know there's been a lot of things that have gone on over the past couple weeks, but remember the Minnesota State Representatives, Melissa Hortman and her husband and their dog Gilbert, who were brutally shot, were just for serving, right, the public. Additionally, I'd like to remind everyone to keep those firefighters and other public services employees in Idaho who were shot brutally, all while trying to serve the public.
Certainly, thank you. Not a good week or too good time for public servants, unfortunately. Anyone else? Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Councilmember Dr. Esters.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We'll do the roll call, starting with District 1, Councilmember Mr. Hernandez.
One day present.
Mr. Hill.
Present.
Dr. Esters has joined online, as you have noticed.
Present.
And Councilmember Whitney.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Mackey.
Present.
District 3, Councilmember Mr. Ray is away today, and I don't think he will be joining tonight. Mr. Rigg.
Present.
And we'll do the announcement, starting with Councilmember Hernandez again.
Happy summer to everyone. This is a hot one. We've definitely started off with really high temperatures. I want to make sure to remind everyone that Prince George's County does offer cooling centers. Check your Prince George's County website for those available locations. Also, in the summer is always a great opportunity to make sure that there are certain programs that you're taking advantage of. I want to highlight an excellent program that the University of Maryland, our partner here, has really gone out of their way to make sure that College Park residents are feeling welcomed. They've opened up their pool at a 30% discounted rate for those that are part of the the UMD Alumni Association. Please look on the city website, the City of College Park website, to learn more. There's also a number of different programs that your taxes are paying for, right? So Maryland Parks and Recreations, MNC, PPC, has a whole bunch of programs and camps this summer. The website is, you just Google it. It's really, really fast to find it. But a lot of excellent programs for your self and for your children to really partake in. A lot of great programs here in College Park as well. I encourage you to do something with the extra time that you have. And as a reminder to everyone, fireworks are illegal in College Park. So please, if you see your neighbor potentially popping fireworks, go and be a kind neighbor and remind them that that's not allowed. A lot of dogs and a lot of folks have a hard time with fireworks, but in addition to, there's always burn notices, and our city and county is not prepared to respond to all of that. But there are a lot of great places to go enjoy the fireworks. I encourage everyone to check out Greenbelt. There will not be a College Park parade. I did see that that our delegate put out that there was a 4th of July parade. So just clarifying that a good place to go check things out is in Greenbelt, which is the closest here, or even up in Annapolis. Everyone have a safe 4th of July.
Thank you. Thanks for the announcement. Mr. Hugh?
Yes. We all enjoyed learning and networking and being inspired at the MML, Maryland Municipal League, last week. Came back and refreshed with ideas and ideas about grant fundings and things like that. Yes, and as Jacob mentioned, happy 4th coming up and all the resources of places to go. But coming up on Saturday, July 26th from 8 to noon, there is a cleanup at the permaculture garden on the trolley trail. That's a wonderful garden. If you all haven't experienced it, it's a great time to learn about it and help out with weeding and mulching and planting, updating the garden. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Dr. Esters.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to mention that the Lakeland community has had a number of events over the last week, and wanted to draw attention that on August 23rd, I believe, that will be Lakeland Day at the Lakeland Community Park from, I believe, 11 to 7. So I encourage those within the community who would like to join the members of this community, the Lakeland community, for a day focused on their community to come out and participate. Thank you.
Thank you. I have noted. And then Councilmember Whitney.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make note of an event that actually already happened yesterday. Our District 21 delegation and our senator met with a joint meeting with the Lakeland Civic Association and the Berwyn District Civic Association to discuss, what happened over the past legislative session. I was not able to attend because I was actually getting off the train at the time, but I just wanted to commend those two civic associations for coming together for that purpose and sharing their ideas and hearing from their representatives. And I want to thank the 21st delegation and Senator Rose Pep for hosting that with those two associations.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, happy 4th of July to everyone. I hope everyone has a very eventful day, but be safe as well. In addition to most of us attending the Maryland Municipal League Summer Conference, we probably were out of quorum, but that's okay. We're at the conference, and again, was a a delightful conference, a lot of information. Also, I did want to notify the residents of College Park that we do have a new county executive, Ms. Aisha Braveboy. She is our new county executive. She was sworn in on the June 19th, on Juneteenth, and I was happy to represent the city at her swearing in. It was a very, very excellent event. Also wanted to make the residents of College Park Woods in District 4 aware that myself and Councilor Mackey will be trying to resume our virtual District 4 virtual sessions, and we will look at having something at the end of this month, and the topic should be released by next week. We'll notify you about the topic. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Mackey.
Yes, I'd like to encourage our residents to take the opportunity, if you have time, to volunteer for Neighbors Helping Neighbors. They are in a need, they need volunteers to help out with the growing need. So if you have time and you would like to be a volunteer for Neighbors Helping Neighbors, please do contact. Their website is on our city website. Another thing is Good Neighbor Day is coming up, and residents and anyone can put in for a project that they might want to do, or you could just be a helper, which is a really good thing. I've done that in the past, and you can either be a leader or a helper, and either way is a wonderful way to serve the community. And it's on the University of Maryland website, but I got to it, I think, by doing Good Neighbor Day /UMD, and I got to their website. And lastly, I would like to encourage seniors to come out to the College Park Woods Clubhouse tomorrow from 10 to 12 to participate in a fitness and nutrition workshop and exercise, I think. So if you feel inclined to do that, please come out and do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
I apologize, colleagues. I did have two other announcements. I did want to inform residents that Prince George's County has set up an opportunity with several entities in Montgomery and Baltimore City where you can go and wash a load of clothes and get a free bag. So if you're in need of that, there are several locations. One is on Kenilworth Avenue, Hyattsville, at Super Clean Laundromat at 5516 Kenilworth Avenue. And the other one, that's on July 8th. The other one is July the 18th from 9 to 3, both of them at Mega Mart at 5801 Riverdale, Maryland. Also, WSSC is also offering an extension to its program for forgiveness if you need assistance with your water bill. The program will last from July 1st and run until October 31st, 2025. So I will definitely get the information to our clerk and hopefully it can be posted along other resources for our residents on the website. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. You mentioned about the new county exec, but we also have a new police chief and also fire chief, right?
We have a new police chief, a new fire chief, a new CEO. We have several new
New leadership.
members of the executive leadership, and I presume more is to come.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Mr. Rigg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And in an unpleasant non-surprise, the residents of the Calvary Hills community today and will throughout the week be receiving notices from Prince George's County of the soon-to-break ground, long-awaited Calvary Hills stormwater management system, specifically parts C and D, a scant decade behind schedule. It will be, and I'm saying this both celebratorily, because I'm certainly very pleased that this is finally getting underway, but also just to note for residents of Calvary Hills, in case you're listening or you happen to be in the room, I see one. It's gonna be a big pain in the butt too. I think, you know, the degree to which this will interrupt sort of day-to-day life in the community is just sort of dawning on me. But about probably nearly half, between a third and a half of the roads in Calvert Hills will need to be completely, torn up with new stormwater infrastructure placed underneath. We're going to experience the temporary loss of at least several months, probably 3, 4, 5 months or more of substantial portions of the Calvert Community Park at the end of Drexel Road. So while we're pleased that this was finally occurring, and we're extremely grateful to our county advocates, especially Mr. Olson and Mr. Darnoga and others who've worked to make this happen. It's going to be a big deal, and it will be very disruptive in the community. So it's time to celebrate, but also time to kind of gird our loins and prepare for what's going to be a big dig. So as I become aware of more information, I'll certainly share it with the community and share it with the council for awareness. But thanks to all who made this happen, and of course the 21st District delegation, without whom this would not have been possible. Thank you.
And thank you for your leadership and the leadership of the community and the community's advocacy for making it happen. I know it's been a long wait. And thank you to staff who has been working so closely with the county.
It's been a long decade. Thank you.
It's been, yeah. But the good news is that your car will not be seen underwater next time it rains. Once it's done.
Or me standing up to my knees in water again, hopefully.
I still have that photo. All right, let's go to our student liaison, Mr. DeSpiro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a little while, but it's certainly good to be back. Just a little bit of updates here. We had the opportunity to have breakfast and discuss city plans with Councilmember Rigg. A very great experience. We're able to discuss plans that me and Amira have for this coming school year, along with just general operations with the city. And we definitely look forward to meeting and continuing to meet more council staff and also council members as well, and continue to understand more about the city itself. We're also continuing we have updates on the advisory council, and I'll turn that over to my deputy so she can give those. So thank you.
Thank you for your leadership and Boozma, your leadership in making this happen, this advisory council. Pretty exciting. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. Just a few updates on the Advisory Council. We did finalize the roles and responsibilities as well as the application. So this Advisory Council will be comprised of around 10 to 15 students and we're going to have a chief of staff and 3 committees. So that includes media committee, policy committee, and event planning committee. We intend to send out these applications within the next 1 to 2 weeks. We have a meeting set up with the SGA president, and we're going to discuss how we're going to get those out. But yeah, that's just a little update on what we're doing.
Thank you, thank you. I'm pretty hopeful that there will be more engagement from the campus and SGA, because I know there are students and community members in campus. They want to help in the larger community, and this is an opportunity for them. Thank you for creating this opportunity. Appreciate that. All right, let's go to our city manager's report, Mr. Young.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents of College Park. It looks like our student liaisons are getting a nice lesson in putting people to work. And so it's good to see having more students engaged in what we do here at the city. I did have the opportunity today to attend on behalf of the city the University of Maryland's Police Department's 50th anniversary celebration. Very well-attended ceremony, and just want to congratulate them on their 50th anniversary. They will have another event coming up here soon as well that will be hosted by President Pines. And that's all I have for you today.
Oh, thank you. Is there any question for Mr. Young? Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, please go ahead.
Mr. Young, is my colleague, Councilor Hernandez, was talking about the cooling centers. Many years ago, we did, and Councilman Rick can correct me if I'm wrong, we did have Ritchie Coliseum as one of the locations for a cooling center. And I don't know if there's any type, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I do think we've used that as a cooling center in the past. I'm not sure it would be appropriate now. Unfortunately, there is no parking at Ritchie Coliseum due to Purple Line construction at the moment. But to your point, Ms. Mitchell, there may be
Other
opportunities, with
Yeah.
the university. I'm not aware of any, though.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Right now with the Purple Line construction, that's not possible for that location.
But to that point, is there a way that we can probably think out of the box to think about other opportunities with working with the university, maybe? Ms. Young, not an answer right now, but just food for thought. I know.
The university has plenty of buildings to offer and plenty of staff to get that word out, but I don't think that they feel that that's in their realm of responsibility.
Duly noted.
Maybe we can think of our other facilities like Davis Hall or College Park Roads Clubhouse, maybe. Just throwing ideas. Ms. Mackey.
Yes, I have a question for the city manager. Due to the 4th of July holiday this Friday, there won't be heavy trash pickup this week at all, or scraps. I think I saw it in the bulletin, but I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right.
That's correct. If residents do need, they can still call up Public Works as always and schedule a pickup. We'll have to look at it on another day, but we usually have people working on, even on Saturdays to be able to pick that up. But we'll get to that next week as soon as we can. But yes, we will have the holiday here on the 4th, so our employees will be off for the most part. Not all of them, but I will be working, I'm sure. But for the most part, our employees will be off.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that notice on our bulletin as well. Any other question for Mr. Young? Seeing none, let's go to the acknowledgement, and we have former District 2 City Council member Maxine Gross joined online, and I hope I'm not missing anyone else. I'm not. We don't have any proclamation and awards, and the next order of business is the amendments and approval of the agenda. I see at least 2 of them. Who is going to go first? Ms. Whitney, please go ahead. Ms.
Okay.
Whitney.
I move to amend the agenda to hold the public hearing on 25007 prior to the consent agenda. And, sorry, let me rephrase this. I move to, wait a minute, hold on.
I think you're correct.
Okay. I move to move the approval of a contract of sale for 5021 Lakeland Road, College Park, Maryland, Wait, no, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
no.
confusing myself because there are two different things happening here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read what I wrote because I was right when I wrote it and I shouldn't doubt myself. Okay, I move to amend the agenda to hold the public hearing on 25-007 prior to the consent agenda and right after public comments, and to add as an action item, ordinance 25-007, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park authorizing the acquisition of certain real property located at 5021 Lakeland Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740 for a public purpose.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed,
Aye.
any abstentions? So the order has been changed and an action item has been added on the approval. All right, and Ms. Mitchell, you have
Yes,
one
Mr.
item.
Mayor, I move to amend the agenda to remove 25G-62, the annual strategic plan objectives from the consent agenda to action.
Thank you. This doesn't need any vote because it's coming out of consent to action. All right, so and if there is no other changes, amendments, I entertain a motion.
I move to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? The agenda has been approved. So this is the time for public comments. So if you are here to speak on the consent agenda or non-agenda items, this is the time to speak, and you have 3 full minutes. Mr. Dorsch, for the record, please state your name and if you're a resident of College.
Yeah, I'm that Mr. Dorsch guy.
Please go ahead.
A few days ago, I went by the lot at 5021 Lakeland Road, and it's a small corner lot. It currently has a tall fence around it with a black cloth behind it. There's a house that was there, has been torn down, and a section of the foundation remains. This lot is in an area that is zoned for single-family houses. So why is the city...
Point of order. Point of order. This seems like a public hearing topic.
Well,
Is this the Lakeland property acquisition?
it's on...
Yeah,
the-
so
yeah.
we'll have a
You want to wait to
separate-
that?
Yeah, if you
Yes.
could,
We
please.
can do that.
Thank you.
That's not a problem.
Thank you so much.
Just let me know when that is.
You'll still have 3 more minutes. Thank you. Anybody else wants to speak on non-agenda or consent agenda items, either in the room or online? I don't see anyone, any virtual hands. Seeing none, let's move to the next order of business, which is public hearing. And this is our 25-007, an ordinance to the mayor and council of the city of College Park authorizing the acquisition of certain real property located at 5021 Lakeland Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740 for a public purpose. Is it Mr. Young, are you going to kick it off?
Mayor, this is the item for 5021 Lakeland Road. We are looking to purchase the property for approximately $200,000 plus additional expenses. We believe this is a good purchase in terms of carrying out our restorative justice efforts within the Lakeland community, and that's why it's here in front of you for consideration.
Thank you. Any question for Mr. Young? Seeing none, so now you can hold the public hearing. Mr. Dorsch, please come over. Thank you for your patience. Again, for the record, please state your name, the resident of College Park. You have 3
I'm
full
Dave
minutes.
Dorsch, the same guy was here before. Okay. Like I said, a few days ago, I went by the lot at 5021 Lakeland Road, small corner lot. Has a tall fence around it with black cloth on the back of it. The house that was there has been torn down, and a section of the foundation remains in place. This lot is in an area that's zoned for single-family houses. So the big question is, why is the city buying this property? It does not have any specific use for it. The city doesn't. Someone just asked them to buy it, and I guess they thought it was a good idea. The $200,000 agreed to sale price is just part of the cost. The city will have to finish the demolition of the old foundations. and the house footings and fill in the holes. The city will have to also reseed or sod the surface, and we'll have to mow the grass every week or so. All this is additional costs for the city, costs that are paid for out of the tax money I'm required to pay to the city. Again, the question is, why is this being done? This purchase does not meet the strategic plan objectives of objective number 3, which says preserve and enrich our environment and natural beauty to attract and sustain our city's future. And objective number 8, foster, sustain an affordable and suitable city for individual and families to live, work, play, and retire. Could the council tell us how the city purchase of this residential property will be doing any of this? The city of College Park should not be buying properties with our tax money just because someone wants to sell it to them, like they did with the properties on the corner of Calvert Road and Rhode Island Avenue several years ago, when that property owner offered the property to the city for $1.7 million of our tax money. The city should not be buying the property at 5021 Lakeland just because someone wants to sell it to them. I'm sure that some local person will buy the property at the right price and build a house, kind of like objective number 8 describes. Therefore, I am asking the city council not to use my taxpayer dollars to purchase this property, since the city has no current use for it. I'm also, again, requesting that the city sell the house at 4704 Calvert Road that they bought back there for part of that $1.7 million deal. The city does not need to be in the housing rental business in competition with the city landlords. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else in the room? Thank you, right on time. Anybody else in the room wants to speak on this item? I do want to recognize that in the red folder we have 2 public comments. One from the Lakeland Civic Association, Mr. Thurston. Mr. Thurston is actually here. Please come forward for the record. Please state your name. And if you're a resident of
Good
College
evening,
Park.
Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Robert Thurston, proud Lakeland resident and the Lakeland Civic Association president. I came to thank you for your consideration for purchasing the property at 5021 Lakeland Road. That property has been sitting in the description that Mr. Dorks described for well over 2 years, and it wasn't knocked down. It was knocked down due to the storm that we, straight wind storm that we had, and has been sitting that way for since that time. There's been 2 separate purchases of that property under the normal buy and sell processes, but as of today, no development has actually happened on that property. And in order for the city to maintain not only its look, its upkeep, and consideration of its residents, sometimes it may be necessary to inject itself in purchases and properties in order to keep it in the spirit that the city would like for it to be. Our history in Lakeland currently right now is properties that have structures on them have been purchased through investors, which has disallowed the average single-family buyer to purchase a home or to even consider it after it's been modified for student housing. So this gives not only the community but a city the fresh start of being able to somewhat control how the property is developed. I don't anticipate that the city will keep this property forever, and if it's in the desire that I have, maybe we will somehow develop a trust that the community itself could take it over and purchase if it remains that long. But right now, it needed to be in the hands of someone who would do the right thing with the property, and the only obvious choice for me would be the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there is anyone else, please come forward. Please, for the record, please state your name and if you're a resident of College Park.
Mr. Mayor, there is someone online also.
Yes, yes, I noticed that.
Would you like to take the person
No, no,
online?
please go ahead.
My name is Ruth Murphy, and I am a resident of Lakeland in College Park, District 2. And I would like to, first of all, thank you all for considering purchasing the property on the corner at 5021 on Lakeland. As you know, Lakeland has been through a lot of trauma, and you all have asked and promised or committed very thoughtfully to helping us maintain the history in the Lakeland property that has had a history of, let's say, being taken away. We're super grateful for that, and we would love for whatever is built there to be consistent with the Lakeland plan and with the restorative justice commitment to our community. And we are super grateful for you to consider this. This is really important to us. It's a piece of our history that we're trying to preserve. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Thank you for your leadership in the community. We have someone join online, former City Council member Maxine Gross. Let me allow you to, actually I don't have the ability. She has joined. Ms. Gross, please go ahead. For the record, please state your name and the resident of College Park. Is she, has she joined as a? Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead, Ms. Gross. I see you are unmuted. I'm not sure why we can't hear you. Is your microphone?
I just promoted her, so she should be able to speak now.
Okay, maybe maybe we can hear from her. We need to. Yeah, if you that's a good idea. If you could please. Yeah, if you could please type in the chat, someone from us could be. She said she agrees with what Mr. Thurston has said, so thank you. So that's our statement. Thank you for your support. I also want to recognize the letter from the Committee for a Better Environment, CBE, in support of the acquisition. It's in the red folder as well. If there is no one to speak, either in the room or online, I declare that the public hearing has been held. All right. We'll be taking this as an action item shortly. But before that, we need to approve the consent agenda. We have 5 items. We used to have 6. One has gone out. So let me read them out, then I'll entertain a motion. And the first one is 25G61. This is about the approval of a contract purchase of the 5021 Lakeland Road, College Park, Maryland from Aldo Vega Herbus for a purchase price of $200,000 plus settlement cost. Sorry? No, this is a contract. This is fine. This is fine. We have a separate action item. This is the contract, and action item will be pointing to this contract. There are 2 different items, even though they're related. And the next item is 25G63, which is to authorize the city manager to execute the award of contract to Janine S. Miller, independent contractor, to serve as the FY26 project lead for the city's ARP age-friendly action plan. The third one would be 25R08, which is the approval of resolution 25R08 to adopt a recommendation of the College Park Advisory Planning Commission, APC, for CPB 2025-03, 4904 Nantucket Road, Fourth one is 25R09, approval of resolution 25R09 to adopt a recommendation of College Park Advisory Planning Commission, APC, for CPB 2025-04, 9003 51st Avenue. And the last and fifth one is 25G66, which is about awarding a construction contract to Playground Specialist, Inc. for the renovation of the school-age playground and swing bay spaces at Culvert Hills Playground in the amount of $118,199, substantially in the form attached and subject to the approval of the city attorney. Now I can entertain a
I
motion.
move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstention? The consent agenda has been approved. We don't have presentation, so now is the time to take the action item. And the first action item, which has been added, is the ordinance, which is 2507. Do you need for staff to introduce it? Staff has already done it, so we can actually go ahead with it, with a motion. So I can entertain a motion, the 2507 from District 2. Anyone from District 2?
Mr. Mayor, I will go ahead and take the motion.
Please go ahead.
I move to adopt ordinance 25007, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park, authorizing the acquisition of certain real property located at 5021 Lakeland Road, College Park, Maryland 20740 for a public purpose.
Second.
Any further comments, Dr. Esters?
I want to agree with Mr. Thurston's comments that I believe that this purchase will help the community move forward with restorative justice efforts, and we look forward to the opportunity for the members of the Lakeland community to give voice to what this will be. Thank you.
Thank you. We have taken public comments, so we're not going again to public at this point. Before we take the vote, any comments from the council? Mr. Rigg and then Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, just very briefly, I support this acquisition. I think, it's been one of the efforts that I try to support as often as I can is restorative justice for Lakeland. And one of the really optimistic, positive things I've taken away from the conversation over the last few years is this notion of moving forward towards building Lakeland anew, while respecting the past, focusing on the future. And you have to have resources in place to be able to do that. This is a small piece of the puzzle, but it's a piece of the puzzle nonetheless. I'm excited about this work, and I'm deeply grateful to the residents of Lakeland for their determination, for their tenacity, for their advocacy, for sticking with it through the years. And I am deeply, grateful to members of this council for what I hope will be resounding, perhaps unanimous, hopefully unanimous support. So I plan on voting for it tonight and appreciate support for it from my colleagues.
Thank you. So you have a queue, Councilor Hernandez, then Ms. Mitchell, and then Ms. Whitney.
Yep, my comments are to address some of the concerns that have been raised by some of my residents, more from a perspective, I guess, loss of perspective. I also walked around the property ahead of this vote, and what I saw were what appeared to be student housings, just in residential homes, homes that appeared to be rentals, and for the most part, not necessarily a community feel of long-term residents, especially none as described to me as, Lakelanders. I often have to remind a lot of folks that urban renewal was a thing, and it led to the significant loss for College Park's Black community, displacements of families, and destroyed cherished community spaces. For me, what I saw from the Lakeland Civic Association's presentation on the Pierce property lot, that was well-researched. It was presented with, what their vision was as to what it would look like to program that particular space. I don't know what this particular property is going to be, but I do know that this is the prime real estate for anyone who's looking to purchase this spot. I just think right now, while we have the means, it's important for us to return at least just even a piece of that promise of repair. So I enthusiastically support this program. This purchase.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate my colleague, Councilman Rick and Councilman Hernandez's comments. I will be supporting this enthusiastically. I support it because not only did we make a commitment to Lakeland, it's also a commitment to our ancestors. I truly believe that when you keep your word, as in our culture, your word is your bond. And the bond that we're creating is for having opportunity for families who would like to have opportunity maybe to come back to Lakeland to do so. We have to continue to preserve communities and cultures, because that was what we are raised on, cultures and communities and families. And this is one way to show, as a committed council, that we will uphold our promise, we will uphold our word, and we're dedicated to building communities, and we're dedicated in building promise and hope for the future. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Then we go to Ms. Whitney.
Thank you. I will, of course, be enthusiastically supporting this purchase. I just wanted to point out that this is a central location in the Lakeland community. It is right across the street from the Embry AME Church. It is right down from the First Baptist Church of Lakeland, two historic churches in the community and really cornerstones of the community. And really, that's what this community in part was built around, this center. And I think it's important to give the opportunity, as Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell said, for people to return and to build this community anew. I think it's important for the council to, and for the city to seize opportunities when they're presented, because you don't get many opportunities to really control what happens in this community, and we need to do that. So thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Anybody else from the council? Please go ahead.
I said I wasn't going to make a statement, but I am going to make a statement. And I'm never one to try to be combative, but I'm going to say this. We're not in competition with the landowners or property owners. If the property owners would like to participate in this process, please do, but ensure that if you want to, that you need to make sure that those who purchase are going to be willing to abide by the rules that we uphold for Lakeland and reparations. That's the promise. So we're not going to be in competition. Join us if you like, but we're not going to be in competition with you.
Thank you. I don't think I'll get an opportunity to vote on this item, but if I had a opportunity, then I'll definitely be supporting it. And the main reason is to support this Lakeland community, which has suffered so much because of the urban renewal in the 60s negatively. And Lakeland used to be a very vibrant historic community, and many of that vibrancy doesn't exist because of this urban renewal. And on this dais, on the city council as a body, we made a commitment to help them to bring back some of those vibrancy to this community. And the purchase of this property is a very small way to help the community. And thank you, Lakeland Civic Association, and thank you, members of the community, for advocacy, your advocacy. And it's not like the city is going to a real estate business. It's just helping the community to fulfill their wishes. So before we rebuild this property, we'll be definitely, every step of the way, we'll be asking them about their wishes. So basically, we're listening to the community. It's not like we're getting into real estate business. So with that, if there is no further comment, I will call the vote.
Mr. Mayor?
I didn't see your hand. My apologies. Please go ahead, Dr. Stokes.
That's okay, thank you. I just wanted to be clear. It has been referenced, issues related to urban renewal that occurred in this community, but I want to make clear that there is a vibrant community that exists in Lakeland. There are people who have worked hard and continue to work toward restoring this community and adding to what already exists there. So I wanted to make sure for the record that folks knew that there was indeed a vibrant community that's working towards restoring what had been and what they foresee for the future. Thank you.
Certainly. There is still a vibrant community, but it's not at that level that it used to be. That's maybe. Thank you for clarifying that. If there is no other comments, I'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion has been approved. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the community, and thank you, staff, for your work. Appreciate that. All right, we have 3 others action items. The next one would be 25006. And this is about the introduction of the ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, amending Chapter 184, Vehicle and Traffic, Article 2, Parking Regulations by amending Article 184-11, Prohibited Parking by enacting 184-11D and E to prohibit parking or standing in a bike lane, and Chapter 110, Fees and Penalties. And this will be taken by our Director of Public Services, Mr. Coker, and our City Attorney, Ms. Anderson, who is going to take this. Mr. Coker are going to take it. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents of College Park. This item beforehand is 25-006. It pertains to introduction of ordinance that relates to amendment to Chapter 184-11, and it also relates to amending 2 subsections of 184-11, D and E, and also the needed changes in Chapter 110, Fees and Penalties. A brief background on this item is that last month on May 20th, we discussed this item, and the council had asked us, specifically Council Member Whitney is the originator of this particular ordinance. She wanted to make sure that what measures we can take regarding the bike lane safety. The issue was reviewed by city attorney, staff, and public services, and city engineer. A decision was made to refer the topic to Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee to determine the scope of a bike lane safety ordinance. After the review of the findings of Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee regarding the scope, the city attorney had made the requested changes and amended the section 184-11. The ordinance changes have been attached along with this document. Specifically, some details were added as they relate to 184-11 subsection item D, bike lanes. There were some definitions And then there were some marking related explanation were added in subsection E of 184-11. The changes that pertain to the fee penalties changes were related. They are mentioned like if the violations, like anybody who is standing in a bike lane, they will have to pay $100 as a penalty. If they pay within the 15 calendar days of the violation, and if they are not paid in the within the 31 calendar days, it will go to $200, and if they are paid after 31 days, the penalty will rise up to $210. So these are the specific changes which have been put into place here for recommendation before the council. If any, Stephanie, do you want to add anything to it?
I know that Councilmember Mackey wanted to make sure that the three, I think the trike type micromobility vehicles would be covered, and I researched that, and it's included in the definition. I believe there was also a question about jurisdiction, and I talked with staff, and I think the code as written, we would definitely be able to enforce by our own parking officers, and we would be working with our contract police to address any issues, but I think it doesn't change the ordinance as drafted.
Thank you. Any other question? Any question for Mr. Coker, Mr. Hugh, and Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, I just wanted to verify that this includes US Route 1, and it's not going to be an issue with State Highway. So I know there was like a state legislation that I thought we had to deal with to be able to enforce this on Baltimore Avenue.
We do have a concurrent jurisdiction, like the PGPD, our contract officer, as well as the state police. We do have concurrent jurisdiction on it. And so are our parking enforcement officers authorized to take appropriate action based on the powers provided in the ordinance that we already have.
But but Mr. Councilmember Hugh is asking, we have a bike lane on Route 1, which is Route 1 is a state road.
Correct.
It's not a city road.
Can
we enforce this?
Our ordinance is only to deal with city-owned roads. We're
Right.
not going to be able to enforce on state highway.
Correct.
Okay.
So we need a legislation.
Yeah, so, okay, we're
So
still
that's
waiting on
that's a
that.
different fight we need to fight.
And another general question is why only a $10 difference from 200 to 210 after 31 days?
Who can answer the
It seems
fees?
irrelevant.
There's no particular rationale. It's, I sort of borrowed, that's in our current code on a couple of violations, so I kind of lifted it from there. But if you think it should be more or less, but, so there's no specific reason. It was just, it exists in our ordinance already on a couple of places.
Thank you.
Should we make it more than that? Yeah, I think we should make it more
Yeah,
than
the
that.
council has the option to change it
Yeah.
when motion is introduced, and you can make an amendment that time. Mr. Hernandez, and then Mr. Rigg, and then Ms. Mackey. And Ms. Whitney.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to hear from at least the bicycle and pedestrian committee that this is a major concern of theirs, and I think they sent us a letter recently. The only question I have is how many roads does this particularly apply to? I know Rhode Island up in North College Park would be applicable since it's a city road and we have bicycle bollards. What other roads would fall into the roads that are being enforced for here?
We do have a number, I don't know the exact number, but we do have a number of roads that are out in Old Town in particular. I want to say Calvert. There's a few others. John might know a few of the roads.
I can
more than me.
opine if you'd like.
Please.
I think the most affected roads where you'd see this sort of, blockages, Knox Road, College Avenue, Rhode Island Avenue, the Hartwick and Knox on that side, and Guilford and Mowat in Lord Calvert Manor community.
Okay.
I suspect you'd probably see some, well, you'd probably see some stuff in Berwyn as well, but my District 2 colleagues could discuss that along Berwyn Road, along Rhode Island Avenue, maybe even Pontiac Street, but they could opine on that, and I'm sure there's stuff up in your district as well.
Yeah, I mean, the major place being Rhode Island Avenue. I guess the only reason I'm really asking Director Kokar is, what is your comfort level to impose yet another requirement on our code enforcement officers like this? Because this is an additional responsibility.
I don't believe that it'll increase their overall burden as far as enforcement goes. It's just going to be based on the occasions on which I don't have the exact data, like the extent of violation that exists. But even if they are very few, they are still very critical, and they are related with public safety, and we have to take action on them. But I don't think it'll overburden our existing workload of our officers.
Thank you. Yeah, I just hope that it just becomes just second nature if they see someone, right, that there is some sort of strategy to address that, because obviously people can be parked for 2 minutes to 40 minutes to overnight. But the big problem is that you never know when there's going to be a biker that crosses. So enforcement can be kind of tricky here, but we would ask for all code enforcement officers to receive the training appropriate to be able to administer this enforcement.
Great feedback, Councilmember Hernandez. Will incorporate that.
Thank you, Director Kokar.
We have Mr. Miller raise his hand. Mr. Miller, do you want to chime in?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Thank
Can you
for
please
taking
speak up a little
moment.
bit?
I don't have the exact number as Councilmember Hernandez was requesting. I do know that Councilmember Rigg mentioned Lord Calvert Manor. The only road that has dedicated bike lanes in Lord Calvert Manor currently is Knox Road from Baltimore Avenue west to the intersection with Guilford Drive and Mowat. That location is already designated as a no parking fire lane. So this would basically complement the existing restrictions. Of course, as Councilmember Hernandez mentioned, Rhode Island Avenue north of Greenbelt Road, University Boulevard will require signage as any of our roads would with bike lanes. But we do have certain limitations. I know that Guilford Drive, for instance, does not have a dedicated bike lane because you only have separation of east and westbound lanes. Traffic flow is only 1 car length wide. Once you take into consideration the cars parked curbside, and that's all permit restricted. So we don't have tons of roads that have dedicated bike lanes. I think the real driving force here, unfortunately, with Baltimore Avenue having it, makes perfect sense, but because it is a state road, we don't have jurisdictional authority as a city to enforce the regulations there. Campus police, county police, I know that last year when there was a police forum at one of the council meetings, they had indicated that they could kind of basically chase people out of those areas. Of course, this was before the bike lanes were completed. So we do have a few that will have to be addressed. And once the signage is in, parking enforcement officers will be tasked with enforcing those locations. Really, as Director Kokar was saying, it really doesn't increase a burden on existing staff. They would have been there citing for other restrictions anyway. So this kind of just adds to the caveat of what we can do.
Thank you. Good. So we have a queue, Mr. Rigg, Ms. Mackey, Ms. Whitney, and Dr. Esters. Mr. Rigg, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you to Mr. Miller. It's a friendly reminder that we're talking about regulation of blocked bike lanes, not regulation of blocked traffic lanes and just general irritable motorist behavior, which is the litany of streets that I mentioned earlier. You're right. Some of them have bike lanes and many of them do not. I'm a big fan of bike lanes and think they should not be blocked. I'll say, I'm in favor of this ordinance, but I have, doubts about its enforceability, and it's not as though we will lack the authority to enforce. I think we will have, this ordinance gives us the authority to enforce, but it's more sort of the logistics of it. Both the elephant in the room being that Route 1 is, we have no enforcement capability or authority to be able to deal with those bike lanes. And the other issue is that it, would require code enforcement and I believe a contract police officer to enforce, in tandem. So you'd have to have, essentially 2 city units, if you will, to enforce, which isn't a good reason. And there's only limited spots where it would really be effective because there's only limited spots with a bike lane. That said, I support it. I think it's a good idea. I think Ms. Whitney is absolutely right about it. And I think it gives us a good opportunity to communicate with our state and county stakeholders the importance of really having some fidelity for these bike lanes, really have some protection for these bike lanes from antisocial motorist behavior that impedes safe passage for cyclists on these routes. So I guess I'm left thinking that this is a first step. It creates an opportunity to communicate with our stakeholders and draws a line on behalf of the city of College Park that we hope that we can have others kind of continue for other roadways in our area. So I support it, and thank you to Ms. Whitney for her leadership.
Thank you. I do agree. Ms. Mackey and Ms. Whitney and Dr. Esters.
I'll be brief. I support this also. It's very dangerous for bikers to have to go around cars that are parked in their bike lanes. If a car stops in a car lane, cars don't like that. So it's very dangerous for bikers to have to go around cars that are parked in a bike lane, and it puts them in jeopardy. We have bike lanes in our city to keep our cyclists safe. So I wholeheartedly support this. I think that College Park can be an example to cities around, and that we could be an example to the county and to the state of the need to protect bike lanes. That bike lanes are basically just what they say, where bikes move. There have been fatalities when people in cars go into bike lanes, whether they park their cars or drive their cars in bike lanes. So it's imperative that we do not allow that in our city. One of the things that I would like to see is that this law is posted. Something like College Park protects our cyclists, no parking in bike lanes. And because I think people need to know that College Park protects our bicyclists. I witnessed 2 Saturdays ago a group of people which had children on Rhode Island Avenue have to go around a parked car on Rhode Island Avenue, which I really didn't understand why a car was parked on Rhode Island Avenue when there's a service road, but there was. And I slowed my car down to let all the bikes go around me. And it just was a really enforced this need to do this. You all know that I don't talk a lot, but I'm very passionate about this, and I hope that we can pass this, get this moving, and that we can be an example to PG County and the state. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we go to Ms. Whitney. Again, Ms. Whitney, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for bringing this up. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and I want to thank my colleagues for all the excellent points I've already put forward. I just wanted to make the point that this is really, I agree with Councilmember Rigg, this is a first step. I think it is a necessary one. I am hopeful that it will start to change the culture and the behavior of drivers in this city. The state puts a lot of restrictions on cyclists around bike lanes, but very few, actually no restrictions on drivers around them. We saw legislation proposed at the state level last legislative session to hopefully change that at the state level. Unfortunately, it did not pass. I had the opportunity at the Maryland Municipal League Conference to speak directly with one of the committee members who heads up the committee that was handling that bike lane ordinance at the state level, and emphasized how important this was to College Park. and that any carve-out for delivery vehicles would be most unwelcome, and that they are part of the problem, and that we really need those protections for our cyclists on and our micro-mobility users on Route 1, as well as on our city roads. I also wanted to point out that also at the Maryland Municipal League Conference, I was able to speak with Councilmember Eric Olson, who is proposing similar legislation at the county level. He expects that legislation to go forward, I think, or at least to be on an agenda or proposed in the fall, probably in October. So this is, you know, often change kind of grows from the bottom up. So I am hopeful that this will be one of those instances where we start to see the culture change from the bottom up and hopefully spread to the communities around us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that, and I'm sure staff has been engaged with our lobbyist in advancing the legislation at the state level, and we'll be sending some supporting letters when the legislation comes up. All right, next is Dr. Estes, then second by Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will not repeat all the great things that my colleagues have said. I do want to, however, acknowledge my colleague for her leadership here. Let everyone know that I will be supporting this, and also stressing the fact that we must move this forward when it comes to the next legislative session, and be sure to keep this on the radar because the safety of our pedestrians and bikers is very important. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Hill, second bite.
Yes, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about it in a sense of, since this is just for Rhode Island Avenue, in a sense, and when it does become enforceable on US Route 1, would we have two different standards? Would this be updated to what we do on Route 1, or is this going to set precedents of what will happen on Route 1? Because what I want to see on Route 1 is a $250 fine for standing or parking in these lanes to make sure it's a point that makes people think twice before doing so. And so if that's what we're going to be doing moving forward, I think that's what we should be doing here. Instead of saying, oh, well, for $100 you can park on Rhode Island Avenue. And, you know, I don't think $100 is going to deter anybody from, very many people from trying to get away with it on Route 1.
Certainly. It's a good point, and we can certainly revisit city's code once the state legislation is enacted on the state roads. Certainly, we can discuss it one more time, and as you said, to bring both ordinances, both finding structures in line.
I'll support this if that is the case, that we will come back and revisit this and make a standard for the city. No, because I don't think this is going to be a good model for Route 1.
Certainly, I mean, once this is approved, at least this will be an example for our state legislation to work on their side, because right now there is no example. So our code will be an example for them to enact in the future.
Thank you.
All right, so this is an introduction. So if there is no other comment or question for staff.
If you may, Mayor, allow me to add,
Please.
like I think for operationalizing this particular ordinance, we have to make sure that we put appropriate signage at different location, because that is really very important before any officer could, you know, write a ticket. Because we have to be able to tell the people, like, okay, hey, if you are in this section, you got to pay attention to these things, and if you violate, these will be these consequences. So for that, signage is very important.
Thank you. I'm sure Public Works and Public Services will work hand in hand.
Mr. Mayor,
make that happen.
May I also make another suggestion?
Please.
Given the fact that this will be kind of a new ordinance, is there a way for us to make sure that we hit it pretty hard with regards to the publication of this? I don't know if that's something that we typically do, but this is a very I mean, like, especially on Rhode Island Avenue, right? You'll have the opportunity, if you want, to use the messaging boards on the streets, but in other ideal locations as well.
Good idea. I like that. Yes, I'm sure we have done it in the
With
past.
a little bit of a grace period. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that, but still.
Educational outreach is always important, and I think it's a great thing to do.
Thank you, Director Kokar. I know that the code enforcement officers typically do that, but it'll be good for all the residents. And I don't really see a lot of folks parked in the parking in the space, but yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have businesses on Rhode Island Avenue.
Right. Well, but somehow that doesn't stop people. So.
But you never know. All right. If there is no other question for staff, I'll entertain not a motion, actually a motion to introduce
I would like
this
to make a
ordinance.
motion.
Please go ahead, Ms. Whitney.
Okay, I move to introduce ordinance 25006, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park, amending chapter 184, vehicles and traffic, article 2, parking regulations, by amending section 184-11, prohibited parking, by enacting section 184-11 D and E to prohibit parking or standing in a bike lane, and chapter 110, fees and penalties.
Second.
Second.
All right. Thank you. We are not going to take a vote, and the public hearing, as I stated, will be taking place on Wednesday, August 6th, at our council meeting at 7:30 p.m. Thank you, staff. Thank you, attorney, for your hard work, and thank you again, Ms. Whitney, for your leadership and bringing this up. Wonderful.
Thank you, council.
Fantastic. Let's go to the second action item, which is about the appointment of advisory board members and our city clerk, Ms. Ellen, will take it up.
Sorry about that. At our June 10th meeting, we made our annual appointments. There were a few people that we needed to fill we were waiting for their applications. And there were 2 that came in for other boards and committees. At this time, we do have 4 applications. However, one board is, the Advisory Planning Commission is full. They have 7 members already. We appointed someone last June 10th. So now we have the 3 additional appointments that if Mayor and Council would like to make the appointments.
Thank you. At this point, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the appointment of Donna Hayes to the Advisory Planning Commission.
We have a motion sheet.
The motion, she says, okay. I move to appoint Mr. Andrew Komaka to the Affordable Housing Task Force, Matthew Sawyer to the Noise Control Board, Susie Bellamy to the Veterans Memorial Committee, and Jane Hopkins to the City Events Advisory Board. All terms expire on June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Any further comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so this is an action item. By rule, I need to go to the community. If anyone in the room or online wants to speak on this item, this is the time. You have 3 full minutes. Seeing none, let's come back. Any further comments from the council before I take the vote? Should be pretty easy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So these appointments are made, and thank you everyone for coming forward to serve the community. All right, next we go to 25G65, which is about the request of agenda items for the 4 cities meeting in New Carrollton on July 24.
25G62, Mr. Mayor.
25G65? What did I say?
62,
Oh,
the
I'm
annual strategic plan objectives.
Can I go after this? Yeah. This is an action item, yeah. So, I still have that on my mind. I haven't forgotten that yet. So, 25G65 action items. So we have a little discussion, right? We need to have what items the council wants to add. Ms. Mitchell, I saw in your email, you have some ideas. Please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was thinking that we could invite the interim Board of Education superintendent to the meeting and possibly also extend an invitation to the new county executive or a member of our executive team.
Mr. Rake, thank you. Thank you for adding this. Please go ahead.
Since we're extending invitations, there was the announcement of a new fire chief today. And so, that could be an additional person, I
Or maybe
believe.
police chief as well.
Yeah, based on the four cities' prior work, could be very relevant to discussions.
I was thinking the same, actually. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Hernandez?
And this is mostly for discussion here, but a couple of things that come to mind are, first and foremost, any impacts that municipalities may be having. Should the federal government have any significant impacts on the state that will just roll over to the cities? I don't know. I mean, but it could be a topic of discussion that we could have with our municipal partners, if that's ideal. The secondary thing, I don't know how many folks, and I'll be introducing this later, but are aware, but BG&E and Pepco will be shifting over costs, so residents will be experiencing a significant hike in their rates. I know that we had asked them in the past, at least Pepco, to come and present to us at one time. I know there's a number of different topics, including streetlights, that we might want to get on the table when we do have a conversation with them. I don't know if those are different offices, but for your considerations. I'm not married to any of the ideas. I just
Thank
to toss
you.
them there.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I can say thank you to Councilmember Hernandez, and maybe if we continue to extend invitation, get someone from the governor's office to come down and talk about the possible impacts to municipalities.
Yeah, you talked about a couple of things, and those are very all good items, Mr. Hernandez. The one you started with, impact of the feral cuts, and then you talked about utilities, impact with the several utilities. Yeah, that might be a good idea to have someone who can speak on all of these things. That's okay. Thank you, Ms. Allen. Things are clear to you? Okay. Ms. Mackey?
So, as my colleague recommended, getting someone from this state, maybe that person could also discuss the year of service that the governor put forth for students. This is the third year that it's starting, so maybe we could also ask them to speak on that too.
Thank you. Mr. Rake?
One final suggestion would be, since we just discussed it, the parking in the bike lanes. I mean, if other municipalities were to pick up a similar ordinance to the city of College Park, that might help kind of, the movement grow and the odds of getting the state or the county to pick it up increase.
Certainly. Good idea. One, I don't want to add more items. It's already pretty long. I'm sure if not us, someone else, hopefully from Greenbelt, they will be coming up of the FBI location. Looks like the way things are moving, FBI is not moving to Greenbelt unless things change. So that will be quite a bit of impact the way the communities, the four cities community have been advocating for the past. So the impact of FBI location.
Leave something for Greenbelt too.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll bring it up. This is a pretty high on their agenda. I mean, along with them, we have been advocating as well. Miss Allen, did you get that?
Yeah,
Oh, Miss Whitney, you have something? Please go ahead. Oh, Dr. Esther says.
Yes, I did. I just wanted to concur with Councilmember Reg. Just looking at the, I love all the ideas of the people to invite. I think those are excellent ideas. It's probably, just bringing up, I guess we'll just bring up the idea with the four cities that we invite them. I guess that's what we're looking at. So that doesn't necessarily have to be a long conversation. I'm just thinking about how many items we're putting forward and how many items we're generally allowed to. But I feel like as far as the power that the four city has is really exactly what Councilmember Rigg pointed out with saying, this is an ordinance we've done. let's kind of continue to create this movement from the grassroots up. I just wanted to say that's a great idea. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
everybody for their great ideas.
Dr. Estes, do you have something to add?
I do. I wanted to follow up to what Councilmember Whitney just referenced, and according to our agenda, we should be putting forth 2 items, and there are several items that were just discussed, and I wonder if we can prioritize those items for now and maybe pull from some of these other items moving forward for meetings, because I imagine there will be some overlap, and if we have some key topics we'd like to discuss or put forth, I think that would be most effective.
Thank you. Ms. Allen, can you read out what you have so far?
So I have invitation to the Board of Education, invitation to the county executive, fire chief, ordinance for bike lanes, impacts, city impacts from federal government, state government, and BGE and Pepco cost hikes. Please, thank you.
Ms. Mackey?
If we have to whittle it down, I can see a way of combining the bike lane with the county executive, because we could advocate for that in the county also, as Mr. Olson said that he was going to do. I think that we've had Pepco come to 4 cities before, but they've mostly talked about the LED lights and that kind of thing. And I would say that because it's the summer and people are preparing for school, and we don't have a 4 cities meeting before school, that maybe that should be a priority. I mean, that's the only reason I would say that that's a priority, is because of school starting. We wouldn't have a 4 cities meeting before school starts, correct? This is, correct. So, okay, so that's just why, and I think that, a lot of parents and a lot of our constituents are very concerned about just what's going on with the schools, how every year there's an issue. So, I, like Mr. Hernandez said, I'm not, behind any of these wholeheartedly. I mean, they all are great, but, that's just a suggestion.
Thank you.
I would strongly support, should the CEO actually come and talk to us, though. I mean, it'd be very unlikely that they will, but, I mean, you see Councilmember Mackey, every year at the very beginning, there is a massive issue with buses. Yeah. Like, what are we doing to prepare ahead of that, right? And it's going to impact all of our, but I don't know if that's going to be, if the CEO will come, but, I mean, an invitation, I wouldn't mind prioritizing that over anything else.
So if I can interject, the CEO might not come, but you can definitely get the director of transportation, who's a person. And they've come before that has a transportation plan, but I do like Councilmember Mackey recommended about the bike lanes with the county, and so I'm just saying, I'm not wedded to the county executive coming at this point, but I am strongly into the school system, because we do have issues.
So there's been suggestions to combine things, and that should actually bring down the number of items. Ms. Allen, how many items do you have so far? 4 or 5?
Bike lane, are we combining bike lane with the Board of County Executive, excuse me?
That was the suggestion, right, Ms.?
No, take off the county executive. Just put, and use the topic about the bike lanes, and combine that with the county. Maybe Councilmember Olson or somebody, whatever, can come in and talk about the proposed legislation. And then I was strongly recommending the Board of Education, because we do have issues with transportation, per pupil dollars, overcrowding, staffing. Parents want to know what's going to happen in August.
Are you inviting someone from Board of Education?
I mean,
that will be a presentation, by the way.
Whoever we need to get. I mean, transportation director.
I'll make a phone call to
I'll give you a name and number.
Transportation, and the CEO's office, see if someone can come out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bike lanes, speak to Councilmember Eric Olson, see if he can attend as well, and Board of Education.
Dr. Esther, do you still have hands? Is it old hand or new hand?
It's a new hand, and I would like to suggest that we have a number of key members of county leadership, as well as school board. Maybe the invitations to all of these individuals is one item itself. One, they're not all going to come at the same time, if they do come, and these invitations need to be made in advance anyway. So this may be something that's it begins now, and then over the course of the year, we'll see some of these people show up. And then the bike lanes and other items, I think, should be prioritized.
Okay, thank you. So basically inviting the executive leadership from the county, starting with county exec, chief, fire chief, and the police chief, and the Board of Education. And they don't need to come at the same time over the years. That was a good suggestion from Dr. Esther's. Ms. Whitney?
Yes, I 100% agree with what my colleague, Dr. Esther just said. I would like the opportunity to share what we've done in College Park with like prohibiting stopping or standing in bike lanes within our municipality. It doesn't need to be long, but I think it's a very succinct and distinct item that we could share with the cities about. I think the idea is really about them having an idea to perhaps pass their own ordinance and letting them know that we have sample language that they could look at if they wanted to. Very
Certainly.
brief, and I think here, having a discussion about federal impacts on state dollars, I think is a great thing to emphasize at this particular moment. I think that's what everybody's thinking about and concerned about right now.
Thank you. So before I go to Mr. Hugh, looks like we have come down to 3 items. The one is the bike lane. The other is the impact of federal cuts and the invitation to the county executive leadership. And there could be many of them. Mr. Hugh?
Thank you. When it was mentioned about the bike lanes, I heard Eric Olson's name dropped a few times, but there are other county council members, including our at-large, that should be part of this conversation, District 1, and then is New Carrollton's in which district?
County.
3?
County Council District 3, yeah.
Okay, so we would need District 1, District 3, and our at-large as part of this conversation as well.
Certainly. I see Ms. Allen is taking notes. All right, so we have got 3 items. Can I entertain a motion to adopt this? Because this is an action item. These 3 items.
Could you please say them again?
Ms. Allen, do you want to do that?
We have discussion of the bike lanes,
Bike lanes ordinance.
bike lane ordinance, excuse me. And we're going to see if we can invite District 1 and District 3 County Council.
And at large, yeah.
And at large, okay. Federal impact on state dollars.
And then
And a general open invitation, Board of Election, Fire, Police,
county
Executive.
Yeah. No,
County
Board of
Board of
Education.
Education.
Excuse me,
Board of Education.
it's on my mind.
Board of Education.
Yes, I do have education here.
So looks like four items, right, on your list?
I have 3.
You have
It's
3?
3.
Bike lanes, invite to county, and federal impacts
Okay.
on.
You combine
Right.
the county elected officials plus the executive officers. Okay, that's fine.
Is that good?
Small is beautiful. Thank you. Can I entertain a motion to approve these 3 items?
I can do that. I move to approve the 3 items of discussing the no parking in bike lanes, inviting our county representation from the districts and at large, and for discussing school board. Was that the last one? Did I get that right? Oh, the federal impact on states, counties, and municipalities.
Thank you. Any second? Any further comments, Ms. Mackey? Pretty easy.
No, I think we've talked about it. We've got it.
So by the rule, I need to go to the audience if you wants to speak on this item. If you don't like things or you want to add anything. Seeing none, I don't see any virtual hands coming back to the council. Any further comments before you take the vote? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? So the Four Cities meeting agenda is approved. Now we go to the item that Mayor Pro Tem actually moved from consent to action item, which is 25G62, is the approval of the annual strategic plan objectives. And this will be taken by our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Gardiner. Please go ahead.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, this is an annual process that we go through. And I appreciate the request for discussion of the annual goals that the council approves. There was a question from a resident regarding where in the proposed annual goals is the livability, age-friendly community item. And then Councilmember Mitchell had some questions about expanding DEI across departments and programs. And one other related question, I believe, okay, also the age-friendly community item. So, and we can see if we can more directly incorporate some of those programs in the annual objectives, if you'd like. But also, there's an opportunity once you approve the annual goals, which generally are somewhat broader, we'll meet with department directors and create department goals. And so certainly with Youth and Family Services and with communications and events, we will discuss the range of events that we plan for the year, making sure that we do outreach to groups that we typically haven't seen as much participation as we'd like. And the same with meeting with Youth and Family Services to discuss what parts of the age-friendly community plan they can address each quarter for the upcoming year. So that's that. I guess I'm offering two possibilities. One is to incorporate some of the ideas that you feel are missing from the proposed annual goals, and those are the ones that are in blue in the document in the packet, or provide direction that we specifically identify how one or more departments can address the age-friendly community goals and the inclusion of residents from all of our different groups in the city, so that we have maybe broader representation at our events, if that would address your concerns.
Ms. Mitchell, please go ahead because you wanted
Thank
to
you,
have
Mr.
some
Mayor. I'm
discussion.
going to yield to my colleague, Ms. Mackey, in regards to the age-friendly, and I'm going to take the other one.
Okay. So in regards to the age-friendly, would the best, I'm looking to my colleagues for some guidance on this, the best course of action is to go into the different OKRs and see how they can be changed to incorporate some of our age-friendly requirements and what the committee has commented, or is there another way? I was trying to think of the best way to incorporate more of the age-friendly requirements in the strategic plan, and I'm not really quite sure how to go about that, whether we should go OKR, through each one of the OKRs, or whether we should just, just ask for the committee, like the senior advisory committee, to review it and then give something for the strategic plan. So I tend to go for the second one just because the senior advisory committee, I think, knows what really needs to be done and can just come back to us with some things that need to go into the strategic plan.
Mr. Young?
I don't think we need to delve too far into the OKRs.
Okay.
I think that's more of a staff level activity, working with the committee.
Okay.
And if it's the desire of the council for us to maybe incorporate a little bit more into our strategic 1 year, these are just 1 year objectives. As you recall, we will be undertaking a new strategic plan activity once the new council is seated.
Right. That'll come in
after the
January.
November election. So this is really just going into the next year.
Yeah,
And so we do know.
I agree. I just mentioned that because I thought of it being an alternative, but I think that what Bill is saying and what you're saying is the way to go. So.
It will happen in either way. Thank you.
Dr. Esters
I
has
see
her
Dr.
hands up.
Esters raised her hand.
I've taken my hand down. My issue was.
Ms. Whitney has hands. No. Ms. Whitney, please go ahead. Is
I
it,
think somehow she has. popped
she's the
off
old one,
call.
old hand
She
probably.
may return.
Okay.
Okay,
Ms.
so
Mitchell, let's
that's fine. And for me, I wanted to ensure that, again, when we talk about DEI, I don't want to see it in just 2 OKRs. I think we need to build upon it in all of the OKRs. And I'm not saying go through one right now, but we set a goal and made a promise that we were going to look at this, our policies through DEI, and our strategic plan should be also likewise. So if there's opportunity to talk to staff how they feel that they can take the OKRs and do something with that, through that in reflective mode, then I would appreciate that.
Thank you. Again, I think Mr. Young has said it right. If there is an opportunity to incorporate that policy and that goal, I'm sure staff will be doing it. So we can discuss in detail how those implemented. And the staff will bring it back, right? Every periodically, we'll be bringing back all the changes.
So, we have 10 5-year goals, that we have 10 proposed annual goals. Those goals can be further accomplished by every department in some cases, or by only 1 or 2 departments. And so something like DEI would be something that's broader. It's communications, it's youth and family services, it's committee structure. We've done a lot of work on trying to diversify. So at the 5-year level and the 1-year level, there may be key terms, sustainability, diversity, inclusion, that are in 1 or 2 of those goals. But that doesn't mean that only one department, for example, will try to address that. It's a organization-wide effort when each department has someone to contribute. And so we can take the feedback that you've provided this evening, and if you do wish to adopt annual goals tonight, and we will go back to the departments and emphasize the areas that you've noted that may not be spelled out specifically, implement the age-friendly community plan. But we will speak to department directors who have a role that can advance that plan to see what piece they can take on for this quarter, for the next quarter, for the next quarter, in the final quarter.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
Any further comments from staff?
Any further comments, Gardner? I don't know. I thought you were going to say something else.
Ms. Whitney is rejoining, so she may have something to add.
So in the conclusion, you're saying we can adopt these goals, but you will make sure staff will go back and look at how it can be interwoven as far
Absolutely.
as the DEI.
Correct.
Okay.
Those are at the implementation stage. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I see one. Ms. Whitney, do you want to speak?
Yes, I sure would. I don't know how I got dropped there, but I was waving my hands frantically. So thank you for bringing me back in. Yeah, I may have missed something. You may have already said this, so I apologize. My suggestion was going to be to add something about a note about the AARP aging in place, not aging in place, sorry, age-friendly community, generally to OKR number 6, inspire, nurture, welcoming, and inclusive community that encourages and embodies engagement, collaboration, and equity throughout our city. Because I feel like this, that the goal of that group is not just for any. It's supposed to be a friendly city to all. You know, it's not just for seniors. It's to everyone in our city, and it really includes. It really incorporates a lot of the other elements that we're addressing in our other OKRs. You know, the Affordable Housing Task Force that we mentioned under a different OKR, that is some, you know, there is a member of the AARP committee on that task force. So it's, to me, I was thinking that would be a good place to put that kind of covers the umbrella of what they do.
Certainly, staff can adjust that. Thank you. So our motion is actually pretty simple. Just say one-liner approval of the annual strategic plan objectives. So if there is no other further comments,
I move to
Thank you.
approve the annual strategic objectives for the city.
plan objectives. Any second? Further comments? Mr. Hernandez, pretty straightforward, right?
Seems like a straightforward. I feel like we chatted about this a while.
Thank you, thank you. So this is an action item. I need to go to the audience. If you have any comments on this item, please come forward. I see. State your name for the record.
My name is Ruth Murphy, and I am living in District 2 in College Park. I don't know if this is the right time to say it, but I wanted to really thank you all for making this DEI concept, you know, for taking it seriously, for being proactive. It makes me proud to be a part of this community, and I want to just thank the council for the time that they are deliberately investing into helping everyone in the community be counted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else in the room? I do not see any virtual hands. So let's come back to the council. Any comments before we take the vote? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So our annual objectives has been, strategic plan objectives have been approved. All right, we are done with all the action items. We still have 2 work session items. The first one is about the policy on overcrowding, and this is again, will be taken by Mr. Coker, our Director of Public Services, and our City Attorney, Ms. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Coker, for staying.
Good evening once again, council and residents of College Park. This particular item pertains to policy on residential overcrowding. First, we met on April 1st, 2025 in a work session, the initiating work session on this particular thing. Myself and City Attorney Anderson met with the representative of Mankato, Minnesota, and that reference was provided to us by Councilmember Hugh. We had a good Zoom meeting with them. They already have a dwelling unit rental code of ordinance with Mankato, Minnesota. And while we were comparing what we got here with our city of College Park city code, especially referencing 144 for occupancy requirement, and then housing regulation 125 and other related areas like 190 for solid waste related issues for enforcement purposes and others, we found out that the reference which is made that certain requirements in Mankato residents were a lot more stronger compared to ours, and we kind of trying to highlight those particular areas. First being register of occupancy, and details of this are also attached for council to refer it to. Within the occupancy, we have certain details which are address of the dwelling unit, number of bedrooms in the dwelling unit, names of the current tenants in the dwelling unit, and the telephone numbers of the current tenants of the dwelling unit. This is the basic core information about the tenants within a rental unit that exists. And it is like a very small subset of the, like a lease information in per se, in general sense. We thought this basic core information will be very important to put it into our ordinance and make it as a core requirement as an additional enhancement in our existing requirements in the city code as we have today. So this is one reference. Second is agent required. I know we have talked about distance of, within the city limits, how far the agent lives. I think Mankato was referencing within 30 miles, but I think in our code here, we have a reference of 10 miles. But we can adapt to what is more suitable and reasonable for different, people to, finalize that figure on. So we'll be actively seeking input from the council and their constituents as far as that distance is concerned. We're going to seek out that information where the consensus is. That's, if a local agent is there, that really helps to do a better and effective enforcement if any issue exists at any rental dwelling unit. Third one, which really took my attention to a more deeper sense, was training, requirement. I do believe that, as I said earlier, I think resident reach out and our, constituent reach out and educating them what our ordinance entails to be an effective ordinance. We must create a training program for our, property owners or the landlords, as well as the tenants which are coming in the beginning of when we issue the rental license. We will create a program within our department here, and we will make that as a mandatory requirement for all the landlords and the tenants to attend that, which will be a venue for answering any question regarding the different nuances of the ordinance or clarity, and make sure that it is obvious to everyone, whether it's a landlord or a tenant or any other stakeholder on the sides of it, watching them how they behave while a rental license is given, and there are people who are utilizing the benefits of that provision that is in the city code. I do believe that training of the landlords as well as the tenants will enhance the clarity and will create or reduce the issues that sometimes we encounter when we are trying to enforce different requirements of. And it's all about the comfort level where we can make sure that the quality of life is not being lowered within a neighborhood or within a bigger section of the community in general. And that may relate to, noise-related issues or unruly gathering or some of the others, like parking-related things, or, one, location is trying to overcrowd all the available spots on a street and things like that. So I don't have that ironed out at this point of time, but I think I have talked to my staff as well as the city attorney in detail that we're going to incorporate that requirement into this ordinance, and I'm looking forward to kind of go forward with that requirement. Information packet is just the extension of it. That will include all the details which will be expected from all sides of the aisle as far as the requirements of a rental ordinances are concerned. Next item, enforcement authority and the limit on rental density. We have discussed that in depth with the city attorney, and I know as I'm speaking here, we, as early as this morning, we have talked to our, code enforcement attorney, Nate Foreman, to look into it, if there are any nuances related with the state requirements or other code requirements for us that could be a hindrance on putting a limit on rental density within the city. If you will look at the package that is provided here, if you look at the table and the code requirements there, 25% of the units being rental within a block or in a community area, that is what the consensus has been with Mankato. But we got to really research it further from the legal sufficiency point of view if we go forward with that. So having said that, Stephanie, do you want to add what I all said as far as the last two items are concerned, limit on rental density and the enforcement of that?
Okay, thank you. The two items that I wanted to make sure that I explained to you in terms of where we stand on just reviewing to make sure legal requirements in Maryland line up with Minnesota. But the enforcement, I can tell you now, we don't have, we can't write criminal citations. We also can't use, evict someone. Those are things that have to go through the court systems. So we recognize that all of the enforcements that's listed may not be applicable in College Park because we might not have the authority. But we did just list it to show you that some of the enforcement tools that they do have, and we wanted to look at those and maybe enhance our own. The last part about the rental density, we definitely want to recognize that, but I remember Councilmember Hugh was quite impressed with that because it does limit the amount of rental licenses you can have in a particular block or area. So we're continuing with our research on that to see if if there's any prohibitions in Maryland law or anything that we have to do to make sure that we would have the authority to adopt something similar to that, should that be the desire of the council.
Thank you. That's quite a bit of work from a staff side and attorney side. I have a question on the training piece that you mentioned, Director Coker. You don't need to go in detail what you are thinking of how this training might happen by the landlords and the tenants.
Yeah, sure. I think just like we have Knock and Talk, which the first exposure I had was last year in the ITGA conference here. And we as a city also participated in educating and training the other representative coming from all over the country to be in that conference. If I go back to my experience in Washington, D.C., where I managed third-party, inspections program and licensing program requirements, the key and success to those kind of programs is that you have to make sure that the requirements are much more obvious and they are regularly given to the people who are really part of that enforcement process. Like the staff can be very much educated and great at it in interpretation of it, but if the people who are being part of it, like tenants and the landlords and the property owners, they have to be educated, and not only just educated once, but on regular intervals. So we're going to make those as a CEU requirements on yearly basis for those people to attend it. Whether a company or an organization owns 30 properties in the city or whether they own 2 or 3 properties, that requirement is going to be same for every one of them. And when we give that training, it will be a very inclusive training, and it will be educational and outreach training. And we're going to have to make sure that this is the law on the books here in City of College Park, and we got to follow through with it. If you don't understand, if there is not a clarity, we'll be there to provide them the clarity. And we will also make it obvious for the enforcement impacts of it. Or if they don't kind of, act in a expected manner as far as the code enforcement, there are going to be consequences to it. So that approach, which is really educational outreach, educating people, that will also have more inclusivity in enforcement of that. I think it'll also give us, like, we are just not being strong arm-handed, like, okay, we are putting more stronger enforcement, but at the same time, we are also taking responsibility for educating the stakeholders involved in it.
Thank you.
I'll rest my case at this.
I like the idea. Do you think it will have an impact on staff capability or your work? You will have more staff time?
Absolutely not. I think it's just kind of making sure that we like give training as far as details coming from International Property Maintenance Code, which I have discussed in the previous work session, and also certain basic requirements within our city code. And as we go through, like, to me, it was very like opening my eyes in some of the aspects of it. And I really want to thank Council Member Hugh to give us the contact, and we were able to, like, I personally felt that I learned a lot of new things in my discussion with the staff from Mankato and their, council representative as well as their community development staff. Because certain things they had, they were a lot more stronger than what we have here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Hugh. All right, so we have a queue. Ms. Mitchell, I think you raised your hand, and then Ms. Whitney, and then Ms. Mackey. And then Mr. Hugh. Okay, Mr.
Okay.
Hugh. Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Whitney, Mr. Hugh, and Ms. Mackey. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
And then
Mayor.
Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you for your thorough report, and I appreciate your due diligence. I know we've been sitting on the stairs for many, many years talking about this same issue. So, in addition to the questions that first I'll go to the training. Maybe something has changed, but we were told years ago that we could not require training for the property owners. So that's something to put out there. We were told we've gone through 5 or 6 iterations about policy of requirements. I'm just saying that. So I don't know if that's true or not. Number one, going back to the intent, I thought, and correct me, when someone purchases the house, do you send a notification to them for them to tell you if their house is going to be owner occupied or they're going to do a rental?
Could you repeat the last part of your question?
So when someone purchases a house, does the City of College Park send a letter to the intended property owner to ask if they're going to continue to use the house as owner occupied, or are they going to use the property as a rental property?
Yeah.
Because that's what we were told years ago. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so presently in our process, we have a usage intention statement that is a requirement, and they have to, give us that detail. So most of the things that I run into or my staff run into at present time, people just don't give that. And even after our repeated request, that information is not provided to us. If we have any enforcement issues, we end up finding it in a more reactionary manner. But that is a present requirement in our present ordinance.
Okay, thank you. If I can ask as for consideration, additional points beyond number 10 is, are you considering to list the inspections of the property owners on the website?
Could you repeat? You said
Are you going to list the inspection after your code enforcement officer conducts an inspection of the house? Are you going to load that up to the website for purview of anybody who wants to go possibly rent the house?
I think the obligation is only to the property owner to meet the code requirements. Ultimately, it's basically related with the code compliance aspect of it.
So, question is, you go in and do an inspection of the house, and they are not compliant with the egress, or they're not compliant with the fire extinguisher. You give them so many days to complete the inspection after that. The first inspection, do you upload? We don't do that, and we have asked, can you upload the inspection to the website? So if anybody goes onto the website to look at that property owner for that address, they will see the inspections conducted.
Yeah, it could be done. We can definitely look into this issue and see how we can make it
I
work.
think the question from Ms. Mitchell, do you currently do it?
No,
I
they
don't think we
currently
do it.
don't do it,
No,
Yeah.
currently
No.
we don't do that.
Yeah.
but you can consider that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It just goes back to transparency.
Okay, and then my last question, and I'll yield the rest of my time. Property owners who do have agents, and the agents aren't valid, or what's the consideration in regards to making that person non-compliant?
So as far as that educational outreach will be considered, all the stakeholders, whether you're a tenant, agent, or the property owner, they're all going to be part of that educational process. And if someone is not withholding their side of the bargain table, obviously they're going to have to do some follow-up on that.
So there's no consideration if the property owner has an agent and is not compliant, there's no consideration for fines assessed with that?
I
Don't
think
want-
I'm going
you
to have
can
to
come
think
back
through
to
with
me.
it.
Hmm?
I'm going to have to think through with this question.
Okay,
Yeah, the
please do.
hypothetical.
I will.
But these are good questions. Thank you. So I have a long queue. Ms. Whitney, Mr. Hill, Ms. Mackey, Mr. Hernandez, Dr. Esters. I think, am I correct, the order? Please forgive me if I'm not. Let's go to Ms. Whitney.
If you don't mind, I'll yield to Dr. Esters. Her hand was up before
Oh, sorry,
mine.
my apologies. Dr. Esters, please go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you, Councilmember Whitney. A few things. One, I think that this is an ongoing problem that's been with us for a long time. It's going to take a long time to address this. I appreciate all that has been proposed as far as changing and strengthening the code. However, I have a couple of questions. One, how effective has this code been in Minnesota for them, the individuals spoken to, in addressing these issues? Also, how are we going to address situations where homes are being sold and advertised as homes that, for instance, can house 8 people? As Councilmember Whitney and I saw months ago, where this property is being sold. And if we have this information, are there ways to address these things head on? Also, when we're considering how properties may be advertised at the University of Maryland, where some of these investor properties are going through their commuter services area, I don't know the exact name of the office, but off-campus housing, where you have properties that are listing far more than the approved of areas or approved of individuals living in the home, far beyond the 5 that we put into place. I think that in addition to what we're doing and the training, we'll need to consider these things. I want to believe that the majority of people will work with us and do what they're supposed to do. But this is also, in my mind, something that is income driven. It's about profit for many people. So they want to hold on to their profit margins as much as they can. So this change may prove to be difficult for them. And I just want us to consider some of these other situations that cause this to be very, very difficult. So this isn't an easy fix, and I appreciate staff for taking the time to meet with those who have other measures and helping us get off to a good start.
Thank you. And you don't need to, staff or attorney, you don't need to respond right now. This is the feedback time, and please take it away. And I know you'll be thinking a lot.
This is also a loaded question, but I think the feedback is excellent and great, and something for us to work through. And we will definitely kind of incorporate this, added information, how it plays out operationally. And I do believe, I think in our conversation with the Mankato staff in Minnesota, they are, from the data that they shared with us, they have been saying that the things have really improved. And the more awareness that is in the community about reporting the violations to the city and making sure the standards which we're gonna, like this training program, and all of people complying with it, we're gonna try to make it as transparent as possible, what is allowed by our state law and city law in terms of anything related with privacy, constraints that we may have. But we're gonna try to make it very transparent and feedback oriented. And our goal is gonna be like this code compliance and the safety compliance for any residents or the tenants or the occupants living in it.
Thank you. Good comments, Dr. Estes. Any further comments from you? Probably not. If not, Ms. Whitney, please go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments by my colleague. I also appreciate the educational focus. I would encourage us to offer that educational virtually and also to have a quiz at the end of it to ensure that people actually have to read a question and provide an answer, not just like kind of quickly go through all the slides. That said, I believe that many landlords are violating this and are well aware of the fact that they're violating it, and they just do it because there isn't the enforcement. And so I think I keep circling back to the difficulties of enforcing the ordinance that is already in place, and how we can best do that, whether it be through a schedule of, and there was mention of this somewhere in the packet, a schedule of inspections that is regular yet somewhat random, something that might actually be, regular enough to dissuade people from going through the trouble of quickly appearing to be in compliance. We have certainly heard landlords tell us about the ways I don't know why they told us this, I guess because they were no longer landlords in that manner, but telling us how they avoided being caught doing code violations. So that is something we really need to, that's the nut I feel like we really need to crack. That said, I am very interested in the idea of creating a cap on the number of rental licenses issued in a particular area. I know we still need to see if that passes legal muster in Maryland. We will also need to have a lot of conversations about, what that cap might be. I think whenever we do something like that, we will have to consider, if there are neighborhoods that already exceed that cap, perhaps grandfathering the existing houses that are not in compliance, because otherwise I think we would see lawsuits, but not extending that grandfather clause to the owners that follow them would be my argument, because then there's just, it's in perpetuity that we have this issue. And I think we're at a point, not just in this city, but in this country, where there is a lot of pressure on people's homes being centers of profit rather than places where they can put down roots and be safe and remain and have some kind of stability in their expenses, which I've been lucky enough to have because of, just the complete luck of when I was buying a house. So thank you.
Good timing. Thank you. All right, so we have three more council members want to speak. Mr. Hill, Ms. Mackey, and Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. Staff, thank you very much for following up on this and taking me serious on this issue, this means to attack this issue. I think that part of the conversation needs to go out to the real estate community, that they realize that when a home is for sale, it does not mean that it can necessarily be turned into a rental, that there will be a cap on rental licenses, that we are working to bring a density to a logical level, that your rental license is a privilege that you can lose and it would not be transferred to another owners. You can't just sell the property to your brother and with the rental license attached to it. That we have a serious problem here, and being in compliance, being cooperative with the city allows you to keep your license. And if you're not in compliance, if you have, I think it's just like 2 strikes in Minnesota that you guys talked to. Is it 2 strikes or 3 strikes? And they lose their rental license. So I think we need to get move forward with this and bring the strength of being a landlord and responsibility with this ordinance.
Thank you. Before I go to Ms. Mack, so can you tell us which city in Minnesota has been doing it?
Mankato, Minnesota.
How large is-
Mankato.
Well, I actually did a search on my PDF, couldn't find it, so that's the reason. Maybe I have to do it again. Thank you. I'll do more research. So I see Ms. Mackey, then Mr. Hernandez, then Mr. Rick.
Yes, thank you. This issue has been something that's been a thorn in our flesh for a long time, and I really appreciate the movement forward that the staff have made. One of the questions that I have is, when we're talking about having a registry of occupancy, is there a way of having a registry of owner-occupied, rentals, owner-occupied with a room to rent, so that we could have all of that information in a registry? Because this has been one of my things is all the unregistered rentals in at least District 4, where my colleague and I were out campaigning, and we knock on a door, and it was as rental when it was marked that it's an owner occupied. So like if there was a registry of every home, I don't know if that's legal. I think that would be helpful, to know that, and it would be helpful for neighbors to know too that, the reason I don't see my neighbors is it's an Airbnb, and it keeps, which is another issue that we have to address, right? But, that would be a suggestion to me, that we, in our city, have our dwellings registered as to, are they owner occupied? Are they owner occupied with renting rooms out? Are they leased to purchase? What's their status? I wholeheartedly support the idea of education. I think that people need to know what's expected of them if they are a landlord. And I think it needs to be made very clear. You can see some landlords that make their renters mow the grass, and the renters, of course, don't mow the grass until the code enforcement get on them. And I think that if a landlord knows that he or she has to have an agent who takes care of the grass, I think that those kind of things would even alleviate some of the things our code officers are having to do. Because really, when you think of it, our code officers are servicing the rental units, because they're telling them that they have to mow their grass, or they have to take their trash out every week, and those kind of things, which should be in the education process. They should know those kind of things. One of the things that for me is, if people have 3 totes, I think they're renting, because I've said this before. We had a family of 7, and we didn't even fill up 1 tote. So those are the kinds of things. Those are the kinds of things that I would like to see addressed. This is a process, and Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think that you've made a really, really good step in the right direction, so thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for the comment. About the rental registry, I think the question you asked in the beginning. So every every rental property, they are required to register with the city. So I understand they do not do it, and this is a violation, but they're required to do it, right?
It's not.
Yeah, that is true. Like every rental unit that needed to have a rental license is expected to be on this registry.
We currently don't require that. Right now, you can own a home and just rent a room, and you're not required to register with the city as a rental under our current process.
Oh, okay.
But moving forward, I would suggest that we look at every rental, whether it's 1 bedroom or whether it's 3 bedroom, which is the whole house is rented, that it would be a requirement that they register that particular house as being a rental house, and then we know how many rooms are being rented, if it's owner occupied, and then we can also start checking that against some of those houses that we also know are claiming homestead and a few other of the tax breaks as well.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, that's good to know. So it is, so we have a rental database, but that to register there is not a requirement, that's what you're saying. Okay. Thank you, good to know. We have Mr. Hernandez and then Mr. Rigg.
Thanks. Let me just start off with a couple questions. I looked on the Sela app. Those are the existing rental properties that have a license with the city, correct?
Yeah. You
Right.
mean Excella portal?
So,
Yeah.
where, it's the accents. So I didn't note it there, and maybe I just hadn't necessarily been familiar with the app. But do we know how many of those are limited rentals, not necessarily those that are there for a prolonged lease? I'm thinking of Airbnbs, VRBO, like those commercial.
Yeah, I think presently that depth of information is not there.
Okay, because I'm aware of there being at least a number of different properties that are rental properties that exist in the city that aren't necessarily long-term rentals, right? Or 3 months, 4 months, but instead short-term rentals that can be rented out. I mean, I think there's a property on my street that you could rent it for a weekend for just $9,000, and it's got a lot of activity. So I think when we're talking about rentals, we should definitely be taking a multifaceted approach, not just for the long-term rentals, but also for short-term rentals, and making sure that that's threaded into our strategy is super important from the very beginning. How often will the trainings be available in your vision there, Director Kokar?
Can you repeat that?
How often were the trainings? So you mentioned a training.
Yeah, it will be a yearly training.
A yearly training,
Yeah.
okay. And asynchronous or synchronous? Is it going to be in the classroom or is it going to be a computer-based training?
No, it's going to be in the classroom, and maybe that will also have a small piece to share with them what our CEO looks at when they are doing the inspection.
Well, I'm just thinking if it could be available, and I don't really want to get into the weeds here, but if it could be available multiple times in a year, because you never know when different property owners purchase properties. I would hate for someone to want to do, be a part of the free market, and they wait in line for a whole year, right? And we need to be able to have that training available as frequently as possible. So just managing that is something I'd like to be considered.
It's a good feedback. I don't think our ordinance will be having this language. This is operational, so. maybe-
Sure, no, I just want to make sure that's out there. But I do have some comments if you just give me just one more.
Please go ahead.
So off-campus housing and housing rentals are a form of affordable housing. This council has talked about it a number of different times for a number of different developers that come. When a majority of the 16 student housing complexes are targeted towards luxurious clients, and when cost of housing is out of control, there's going to be a market for these sort of rentals. With that said, landlords not only have a responsibility to be good to their tenants, they also should be good to their neighbors. They're a part of our neighborhoods and our communities, and we need to be able to work with them. It's my approach to when we're doing government intervention that we be mindful about introducing regulations to the existing market practices. All that said, many residents have voiced their concerns about a large number of rentals, at least across the city. So I have 3 recommendations for you to consider. I'd like for every property to be registered and included in some sort of transparent manner, but for only city permitted properties to be allowed on the market. I think Councilmember Esters and Councilmember Whitney talked about a variety of different applications that do. They have homes on there that I don't know. I've never had to cross-reference them, and I'm sure that would be a laborious task for your team, but I think it's necessary, especially in the summer months and the winter months when they're being advertised. I'd also, as a second recommendation, and I don't know if this is within the realm of PG County, but I'd like for a form to be posted on the front of the property with the contact information for either the owner or the property manager. I've seen this happen in various cities around the country. Yeah, like we, council, or code enforcement, or your neighbor can contact your particular property manager, and that might be the owner, right? But right now that doesn't exist. It's not as readily, easily available. I think that could be a part of this particular effort.
If I could, actually, that does exist. They are required to have a resident agent, and they have to be within, I believe it's an hour's drive to be able to respond to a complaint. That information is available to our code enforcement staff. What we don't do, which some other cities do, is clearly identify who the resident agent is on the property, and that is something that we're looking at trying to incorporate so that the public could look at a particular property and make that contact directly.
So yeah, I am clearly asking specifically for that particular reason. And then the third thing, and I just, sometimes you just got to call the baby ugly. And when it comes to code enforcement, like for a number of different years, and this is all through anecdote to me, this particular topic wasn't necessarily enforced. That's why my colleague here, Councilmember Hugh, brought it to everyone's attention. I know I've heard it from the council on multiple occasions. And frankly, many neighbors are just sick and tired of having to deal with a number of different issues that are emanating from neighbors that aren't great. I think it falls on the responsibility of the landlord because they're the ones that ultimately vet and select their tenants. But I'm hopeful, right, and this is my recommendation, and see how what you can do with the resources that you have, but that you guys could potentially create some sort of task force that really just tackles this head on across the city. We know where the hotspots are. We know the homes that on multiple occasions have received like complaints, whether for just noise or too many cars or plates being changed or whatever other nefarious activity is happening. We know that exists. We know that there are people that are, there are advertisements that are advertising 8 to 9 rooms, right? So like, why don't we just consolidate that and have like a specialized group of code enforcement officers that go and address that head on?
Okay, I think most of the points that you have made, Councilmember Hernandez, they are valid, justified, and we will incorporate this feedback into when we finalize our process.
Yeah, there's a good feedback.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
And I think the reference that Mr. Young was making is probably from Ann Arbor. There, we have been at a couple of places there. We saw that it was like a 2-story retail, older structure, and the rooms or units were upstairs, and there was a nice restaurant in a farmer's market kind of area and setting, and they were all there, at least 2-3 different buildings that we saw, it was right there. And that makes things a lot easier on all sides of the aisle.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Thank you. These are very good points. Like, especially like the idea of posting the agent's information and making it public if possible. I think the communities will be really find it useful. Oftentimes they want to contact them, but they can't find it. I know our staff probably has that access. Mr. Reg.
Thanks. This is something, you know, as somebody who may represent the largest concentration of rental units in the city that I've had a lot of occasion to think about over the last decade. So I have a lot of thoughts. The first thought is really more on the process level. I think, you know, this conversation started as a desire to examine what the city can do about overcrowding of rentals, but I'm sensing from my colleagues and from the packet information that we've sort of sprawled in all directions in terms of rental regulation. So I don't know if that's intentional or not. I think if the goal is to try to make sure that the Prince George's County Code regarding the number of unrelated individuals residing in a single-family dwelling unit is what we're trying to do, then we might want to rein our collective selves in a little bit here. But on the other hand, there's a lot of, you know, bones I have to pick about rental and rental regulation in the city of College Park, so I'm going to dive in. The first is with regards to rental density, something that we've heard in the density matrix that was included, you know, in the council packet today. This is a notion that's been kicking around in the city of College Park and in Prince George's County for a number of years now. I've got waffled on it over the years, and I'm currently in a very cautious posture about it. And the reason why I'm in a cautious posture about it is because we have the privilege of living in one of the most dynamic economic climates in the country. Metropolitan districts in the country. We have people who are constantly moving into and out of this area. This area in part thrives on that movement into and out of the area. Sometimes that's permanent, sometimes that is temporary. And a thriving and healthy housing market has both owner-occupied dwellings and rental-occupied dwellings. I think it's important to observe that there is an optimal number of rentals in any neighborhood, and it is not zero. I think every healthy neighborhood needs to have some rentals because you need to be able to have people come in and to be able to join your community. And in my communities in particular, some of our rental residents have come in, many of our rental residents have come in and later bought houses in our community or in Berwyn or in North College Park or elsewhere in the city or elsewhere in the community. It's a critical way of welcoming new residents into the community because the threshold for being able to access the housing market is substantially lower for rentals than it is for purchasing. So the other observation I would make about the rental density idea is that it would be extraordinarily difficult and I suspect litigious to try to put the toothpaste back in the tube here. We have areas where, parts of my district, where there are blocks and 100% of the houses are rented. There are blocks where it has gone in both directions. It's gone more rentals, it's gone fewer rentals. I'm worried that if we draw a line, and this is a real worry, we will both thwart that needed sort of movement in and out of people who want to live in our community, but also restrict homeowners, like myself, for example, from being able to rent out our home if we're reassigned to some other part of the country, even for a year or two detail, or if we take a sabbatical if we're affiliated with the University of Maryland, or we need to move to take care of mom for a couple of years, right? Those are real concerns. And I can't imagine a rental density regulation that would be able to be adaptive to all of those circumstances while still appropriately restricting that at any point and not sort of invite a lot of litigation. I'm very cautious about that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but I'm very cautious about it. And I recognize I'm over time, but I'm going to go over time anyway. A few other quick notes, and I'll try to keep these short. I strongly believe in the concept of a local agent and that there be both data and signs and placards that are very transparent, make that information transparent and available to residents, in part because it makes our lives easier as city council members. I mean, I've gone door to door to talk to residents about problematic behavior, both renters and owners. The renters, you know, if you don't get any traction with the people who are holding the leases, you do have the option to go to the landlord, and it's well known that in this city we have some pretty poor landlords. So, you know, residents really need a place to be able to go and tell the landlords exactly what it is that they're observing and directly. I also would note that I'm strongly in favor of a greater inspection regime, although I think there are, Fourth Amendment issues with search and seizure in with inspections in non-criminal cases. So I think that's something we'll probably have to grapple with. The final note is, and this is specifically foot-stomped in the packet, the definition of a family. We've not talked about that at all, and that really is kind of one of the thorniest issues with regards to city regulation of 5 or more unrelated individuals. I've heard on many occasions from our CEOs that they often go into these very crowded houses and everybody's related, or they claim to be related. On one hand, in some cases that's probably true. There are many multi-generational houses in the city of College Park. On the other hand, there are probably people who game that. But on the other hand, on the third hand, are we really going to check and confirm? How would we even check and confirm how people are related? If I say I'm living with my 7 cousins and we all happen to look quite different, is there a CEO or a city attorney or a police officer who's going to run down their genetics and their birth certificates? I'm
DNA test.
I am not saying that I certainly don't know the answer to that. Final note, we want to steer wide clear of discrimination here. We want to steer wide clear of discrimination against racial and ethnic minority families, some of whom can live in multi-generational housing, although that's true across all communities. We want to steer clear of discrimination based on affiliation with the University of Maryland or on age. And I think we want to focus on principles of responsible landlordism and principles of responsible tenancy, and use that as our focus rather than some of these other areas where I worry there's a high potential for litigation, a high potential for discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you. On the topic of the definition of the overcrowding, 5 unrelated people living in one property, isn't that a county code that the city actually enforces?
It is, yes. So we picked that up as part of our city code. I would also note that our city code, we have a whole separate city code section on short-term rentals as well. So we have a structure in place to regulate those very specifically, as does the county. So we pick up the county's code section with regards to short-term rentals like Airbnbs and things like that.
A question to attorney, can the city change that code as long as our code is stricter than county code on this topic, definition of overcrowded house, 5 unrelated people?
I mean, I would want to research that, but the definition, I think, derives from the zoning ordinance. So I just need to make sure that we wouldn't run afoul of that.
Okay.
So short answer, I need to research.
No, that's a good attorney answer. All right, Miss Whitney, sorry, your second bite, please go ahead. Miss Maggie.
Yes, just to be brief, I think we're all familiar with the difficulties that have been cited to us of enforcing this ordinance, but in the county ordinance, but I mean, that is the issue, is enforcement, and that's where we're having the problems, and that's why I brought this agenda item forward in the first place. I do think the notice on the door is very helpful. I think that notice should clearly state what that ordinance is, that it is prohibited that more than 5 per county code, that more than 5 unrelated persons live together in a home. I think that's key for us enforcing it, because we want to make sure that residents, know that fact, because perhaps sometimes tenants don't. So that is all I will say for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mackey,
Yes.
second bite.
My question is it some kind of county law that you have to announce when you're going to do a visit? Is that is that a law?
No, it's a right of privacy.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, if you didn't have to do that, I think that would be a way of enforcing the 5 people, but, okay. And I'm just looking at the questions that one of the residents and gave us was to also work with the University of Maryland too, to, we already are working, but even expand that more to, help the students. I know that we do the knock and talks, but not all of the students seem to get that information. So if there was a way that, and maybe John, you know this, like I know that some of the property owners have like an educational thing for their residents, their renters. But I think if all of the renters in the city had to give some kind of education or with like University of Maryland students that are living there, but really all of our renters are not University of Maryland students. So a way of teaching all of the people that are renting in the city what's required of them. And I think that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Again, thank you for doing this. You've done a tremendous job.
Thank you. Any final comments?
Sure. I do want to confirm that family definition is definitely a zoning ordinance requirement, and it is interpreted from Prince George's County Code as a family, and that's 5 unrelated people. You cannot have more than that. If you, for example, hypothetically, if there's 8 bedroom and there are 8 people, that is in violation, and we can write an NOV and give them time to cure, and if they don't cure in 1 or 2 weeks, then we have a right to write a citation, which is a ticket that has penalties attached with it. But no more than 5 unrelated people in a single family dwelling is the county family definition that we do enforce.
Thank you. Mr. Hale, please.
Yes, and
second bite.
I will say this again and over until it's done. The university needs to come to the table when it comes to off-campus orientation of what it means to be a good neighbor, to be a good Terp in our community. They have orientation for the students on campus, and the university knows that after their second year, they're going to be living in the community, but they don't give them any guidance to live in the community. So that's needs to be a big part of this conversation. It's long overdue. Yeah, I'll just
thank you.
That.
Thank you. I'm sure our fantastic student liaison will be involved in that conversation as well. Thank you. So we had a great conversation, and some of the ideas looks like pretty straightforward, and some of them probably you need to go back to the drawing board and probably need to do more research. And what is the next step to come up with a draft ordinance? Or going to have a second work session?
Yeah, obviously, I think great feedback today from all the council members, and we will incorporate that, and we'll take it back. Obviously, we got to make sure that this rental cap or limit, what we see from Mankato is like 25% cap, but we got to legally see, does the state of Maryland state law allows it or not, that kind of thing. And then all the other, great suggestions that I have heard today, even more than what I have previously recorded in the previous work session. So there's additional information. And we will objectively look at it, and whatever we can incorporate, we will definitely try to incorporate that so that we make it a more, enhanced enforcement process rather than, and I'll be the first one to say, overcrowding issue and all that, it's all enforcement related, and making these operational requirements more clarified and obvious for all the stakeholders, and educate, outreach. I think that's where my heart and agility of my mind is, to be able to do that, and that'll be our approach going forward. But obviously, I encourage, I think today before I came in, I had an email from Council Member Ranker. He sent me a lot of thoughts, because he said he wasn't going to be here, and that was great. And I strongly encourage if any one of you want to put it in writing, that will be even more appreciated. I have heard, and I have made mental note of it, and we will try to incorporate the best we can. Make sure that we are legal, and making sure that we are complying with whatever new laws we create, they follow the legislative and operational requirements.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. When I want to give you the tools that you feel comfortable right now, sometimes you and your officers, code enforcement officers, they feel kind of helpless sometimes to enforce the law. So we're going to help you. Ms. Anderson, how do you feel? Do you think that we are in a position to draft the ordinance, or do you think need to have more discussion? Another work session maybe?
Mr. Mayor, I have a suggestion, and I believe Ms. Mitchell might as well.
I think we're thinking along the same
Who's
lines.
that?
I don't even think we're there to talk about an ordinance. I think there's so many pieces that need to be discussed and vetted, especially the legal sufficiency. And I hate to be always one to bring up historical points, but we talked about a bill that our own county council member tried to put in place years ago that didn't go through the committee, about making sure that if a house had already 5 rentals and if the person sold it, they couldn't sell it and it couldn't become a rental. It failed. So I think there's a lot of history we need to look at, previous history, legal sufficiency, and it needs to be another discussion to really fine tune what we want, and going out, and as council members, going out to our communities to talk about this as well. So I use
Certainly.
No surprise that I agree with Ms. Mitchell on all she just said. I would also add, I think we need to figure out what it is the problem that we're trying to solve, because I think we have a lot of really interesting ideas, and staff did a great job in presenting really interesting ideas, but what is it that we're actually going after here? And which of these ideas we've discussed is going to address it? I think there's other things we can also do eventually, but I think a prioritization would probably be helpful for staff. But I'll turn to the city manager. Maybe the city manager could boil the ocean. He is a magnificent manager, and perhaps he can do that. But I suspect he might appreciate some prioritization.
I appreciate that.
Someone
Appreciate
is smiling.
I appreciate all your comments. Actually, one of the things I was going to mention to council is I appreciate the feedback today, because that does help us continue to kind of move through this. But I did hear a number of items that were more low-hanging fruit that possibly we could bring back and work with our city attorney on some changes there. But then there's the more comprehensive policies that it's going to need much further discussion.
I agree. Let's take in steps. Okay, I didn't realize.
Oh.
Mr. Hill and then Mr. Hernandez.
If I may suggest this for part of our goals, is that we need to decide on what would be offenses that could lead up to strikes that will cause you to lose your license. I think that's a good start, because our regulations are not being taken seriously. They can roll with the flow with a citation and keep on doing what they're doing. We have not reached the point where we say, you do X, Y, and Z, that's a strike, and 2 strikes, 3 strikes, you lose your license.
I'm sure that will be part of conversation as part of the enforcement. Mr. Hernandez.
My only comment is, I guess just to close this up, I had heard Director Kokar that there was some sort of appetite or desire towards doing some sort of 25% market cap, or I am strongly opposed to that, right? And I don't know if the full council discussed that particular topic in full. I'll be very honest with you. I feel like my topic's conflated a little bit, because I know Councilmember Whitney at one point proposed the topic to discuss enforcing the no more than 5 persons living in an occupancy or living in a rental, and I think that topic just kind of evolved here. But with regards to the 25% cap, I mean, what did you say? Toothpaste in the tooth? That was, yeah. So like I think that issue exists, and it'd be really difficult for us to go backwards. So without further discussion, I'm not supportive of trying to do some sort of ordinance.
Okay, I don't think that is one of those low-hanging fruits items. It's more controversial one. All right, I see one raised hand there. Let me see. Is that Dr. Estes? Please go ahead. Second bite.
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate, I think that Mayor Pro Tem as well as Councilmember Rigg alluded to this. I think that there are a number of adjacent topics that have been brought up today. I do want to recenter our thoughts. This is about overcrowding. This was our conversation today, but there are a number of other issues that are adjacent to this, and I want us to actually be focused in prioritizing what we need to address, because what I don't want us to see is to go down all of these different roads and still not accomplish what we're trying to accomplish with this being brought to council for discussion and further action. Thank you.
Thank you. So looks like we have a kind of high-level consensus. There are some items, as Mr. Young was telling, that could probably be brought up, and some items probably need more research, and we need to wait for those items to be brought back.
Yeah, I think in a consensus, I do believe that there's a lot of items that we discussed today that we have low-hanging fruit and we can bring it, and there are one or two things that we have to make sure that legally we check if the state code supports what we are trying to do.
Yeah.
And that would be the next step. I think we can bring it back.
Yeah, and Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, if you could please provide those historical references and some of the items you mentioned that was discussed before.
Oh, sure, Mr. Mayor. I mean, it's just the legislation that Eric Olson previously tried to pass. And I'll just allude to maybe DPI, County DPI can help you with some kind of information as well.
Yeah.
If you need assistance.
Certainly, if you work with Ms. Anderson, I think she'll appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. All right, I think staff, we are in good position to move forward. Thank you so much. I know it's a lot of work, and still a lot of work ahead. It's a process. It just started, but it's a good thing we have started. All right, thank you so much. We have one last work session. It's now 10:17. So just remember that. But this is the very last item, and this is about the ordinance of the revisions of the city's revitalization tax credit (RTC). This will be taken by our economic development manager, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, thanks for your patience. You see, you've been sitting for a while.
Yep,
welcome.
Here. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we're back to bring the discussion for the revitalization tax credit program. There are some proposed amendments to the ordinance of Chapter 175, taxation of the city's charter. The refreshed application and guidelines also in the packet. Those portions are designed to give and to allow staff to perform a more thorough review and diligence of the projects and to measure economic impact as well as to scope the applicants or the client. As far as the ordinance questions that you may have, I'll refer to our city attorney, Ms. Anderson, to address those questions and clarifications. Please note that there are 2 remaining tax credit projects that are still active in our current portfolio. And also note that during my tenure under Mr. Young, there have been no tax credits issued. So we can take any questions and let's go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Any question, Mr. Rigg and Mr. Hernandez and Ms. I think everyone will be speaking. Mr. Rigg, please start first.
I'll be fast. So I think, this lands about where we have been guiding you to. I think this is a pretty good, pretty substantial overhaul of the existing tax credit. We've always used this program to try to incent the sort of development that we need in the city of College Park. At one point, we really had to put out the red carpet to get rental high-density multifamily in the city. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case anymore. And so we're on to kind of the next horizons here. And I think these next horizons are mentioned in this. They're an important tool. You know, they're not the most popular tool among all of our residents, but they are an important tool for getting the type of development that we think we need. So I would especially point out that for sort of couple things. First, for sort of our general quote-unquote luxury apartments that are oriented towards student residents, those were something we once provided tax credits for and haven't now in several years. The second thing is, and I support that, the second thing is that all projects applying for tax credits, they're not by right. So, you know, I would urge my colleagues not to focus on every nook and cranny of this proposed ordinance change, because, you know, as a council, we still have the opportunity to consider them on a case-by-case basis. Just because you meet some or all of these criteria does not mean that you will receive a tax credit. It's based on the policy-making decisions of this body. And finally, I would, you know, point out that the projects, you know, specifically focuses on uses around senior housing, affordable student housing, adult day facilities, active lifestyle and amusement facilities, vocational training or workforce housing, and the provision of true community space inside developments. So I see this as a great second iteration of our tax credit program, and I think I'm open to discussion, but I think I'm very happy with the direction it seems to be headed. Thank you.
Thank you. I see a long list. Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Mackey, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Whitney.
I want to thank Director Williams for really taking into consideration many of the comments that have been made from this dais. Just to touch on one of those nooks and crannies, though, the affordable student housing that's included in here is something that kind of sits a little heavy with me, because we have 16 student housing complexes that, or what did you say, cater to student houses? An adult cannot live in these places when you're renting out of a bed. I mean, not an adult, sorry. Someone who is not a part of a university or from the school cannot rent these different facilities, right? Doesn't matter if you're 40 years old, 80 years old, you can't, because they rent them by the beds. Where I have an issue with like us trying to bring even more affordable student housing, or student housing in general, whether it be affordable or not, is the city continuing to take the onus of housing the students of the University of Maryland without seeing any growth in their undergraduate student housing, like on their particular property. So I just hope that everyone considers that in the near future. And when we say affordable, because we once had an attorney present to us and said, well, we didn't know you wanted affordable housing, right? And so I just want to make it very clear for the record, affordable doesn't mean 80% AMI. It means, you know, something that really makes sense in the market. And to Councilmember Riggs' point, like, absolutely. Like, just because you meet the criteria of this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to take it. So today I'm prepared to support this program, but like understand for the explanation to the residents that we're doing it because it does leave room for us to strategically bring in businesses that, or commercial properties that make sense to our strategic goals. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Ms. Mackey, then Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Whitney.
I thank you for taking many of the things that we discussed and putting them in here. And Mr. Rigg also said one of the things that I was going to say, that in the end, the council will be, because we had many a discussion when I first was on council about revitalization tax credit, that we do discuss it, and we do go to the residents and talk to them. I think it's important that the things that we're trying to bring into our city and revitalize in our city are beneficial to all of our residents and future residents. So I like that you have done that. I think that there might be other things that come up that we might, have to tweak into it. And I know that one of the things that I think is really important is that, revitalization tax credits also include environmental issues like that, I think Councilmember Hugh has said this, that, we're really focusing on tree canopy and we're gonna have this major stormwater thing done down in Calvert Hills, and we don't want to have a repeat of that in District 1 or something. So those kind of, we have to be, careful to what, what we're using and putting into revitalization. But in the end, I think it's important that we really engage our community in this too, and listen to the people and listen to what they want. Now, I'm all for revitalizing some of the blighted properties in College Park. So I think this is you've worked very hard on this, and you've taken into account a lot of the things we've said over the months, and it looks like a pretty good step forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for always doing your due diligence and being intentional. I appreciate what you brought to us, and I'm going to just piggyback on Councilman Hernandez and the point, the student housing. We talked about this earlier, and I know we say affordable or attainable student housing. I think we need to make sure that when we talk to prospective developers, or they come to us, that the package, we know what we're getting into, and they know what we're looking for when we talk about affordable student housing. And if they don't know or don't have the criteria, let us not consider the package. Other than that, again, just say thank you. I'm gonna be short.
Thank you for your
Thank
comments.
you. And
Yes,
Ms.
noted.
Mitchell, if you have noticed historically, every time those developers came to our council, we asked one common question: how much a unit cost? And we never got an answer. Never, ever give an answer. And we know they know it, because
Wow.
otherwise they wouldn't be doing the business.
You're right, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Hatcher can tell everybody now that we're looking for affordable housing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Please go ahead.
Hi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for speaking with us today as well. My question is regarding, I see that in the document itself, it references further discussion regarding the definitions for affordable student housing, but how is the city going to go about defining affordable student housing versus just traditional affordable housing? And just to add some context to that as well, in terms of affordable student housing, it's something that's a huge growing concern on campus. It's something that students tell me as well, all the time. And partially because of this is that there is a growing need as well to accommodate the growing student population. Student population where residents make up roughly 21,000 of the 34,000 residents in College Park. So it's not more of catering to it, but also just factoring in mind that there is a need to have housing to match the growing student population, especially when the university is even having troubles in their own regards of catching up with that. So,
Thanks for your question. I wanted to, Attorney Anderson, do you want to talk about the definitions a little bit that we put in? I could easily pass the ball and say, hey, going back to Mr. Hernandez's point, it's very challenging right now for the city to get into the undergrad or student housing proposition. This is something that we will be extremely careful about stepping into, but I just want to talk about that definition because we did spend a lot of time on what affordability means and looks like. And then you talk about average median incomes and how does that melt down when you talk about the student population in College Park as opposed to the rest of Prince George's County, as opposed to the rest of the region, who gets I think average median income is $83,000. but here in College Park, it's more like 61,000. So because the student incomes are included. And so it'd be easy to kind of pass the ball, but I wanted to talk about the deficit.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, point of order. May I have, making a motion to extend the meeting?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed to the
Ms.
abstention?
Anderson.
Meeting is extended.
Thank you.
Ms. Anderson?
Thank you for the question. So what we've done, it was initially, we were looking to, drop those definitions in the law. But what we realized is we needed to do further research as to what that really means in terms of affordable and also the definition for senior housing. So that's like one of the areas that we really want to work on. I mean, we had a recent project a couple of months ago where we agreed with the parties as to the definition. Because sometimes if we put a hard definition in the law, it may tie our hands, and a particular project might be attractive to us, but it may not fit all four corners of our definition. So that's something that we're thinking about, whether we want to put it in our the law itself, or maybe make it into our application where there might be some flexibility to meet the needs of the particular project. So right now, there is no hard definition. It's a discussion topic.
Also, I'd like to, really would like to get some feedback from you all, like, would you, when you talk about if there was a student project before us proposed, what would be your definition in terms of a monthly rate or fee, 10-month agreement to live in a student housing complex? I would just like to hear that from you and not have me tell you. You can tell us, what does that feel like? What are your peer group, what are your supporters saying about that? What's the campus talking about?
Good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is that all you have so far? Okay, you can always come back. Thank you. I see Ms. Whitney, then Mr. Hugh, and Dr. Esters. Ms. Whitney? You're unmuted and muted again.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to unmute. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to thank Mr. Williams for coming back with this. I also wanted to say there is, I agree with what the city attorney has just said as far as not tying our hands with projects, because I do think we're going to see a lot of work from the Affordable Housing Task Force, hopefully, and perhaps there are going to be some other items that address the affordability issue for student housing in the city, and that maybe we can try to approach things in a way that we did with this most recent development that we had the discussion with. I also wanted to say that there was a suggestion from a resident to maybe have a dashboard where we track these items online, the tax credits that are headed out, that have been given out. I know we have very few at the moment, but I think that's a great piece of information to have kind of handy to people, maybe with links to the discussion and the history behind that and why. And the other question I had is, and I don't really need to get into nitty-gritty changing language, but I am curious about why we would not always have a but-for test with developers that were coming to us. Like, when would there be a case where developers, would build this project without us giving them money, but we're going to give them money anyway? Like, when does that, or am I misunderstanding? Thank you.
Thank you. To respond to that, we did a little homework actually and found that some of the jurisdictions that issued tax credits and demanded or wanted to see a but-for test found that the 5-year tax credits and the short increment of that, you kind of went into the spirit of wanting to do a particular development for a particular reason. Case in point, if we did have an adult daycare facility, the different items that would have to go before in terms of considering to do that project, would it be a smarter decision to grant a 5-year tax credit and not press the developer and the investors to show you every nickel, every dime, or all of the risk that's being taken, albeit important, but if it's an attraction that College Park wants, then I'm not so sure if we want to dig so far and try to find every reason why not to do a deal. But when you're doing a 15-year tax credit or 10-year tax credit, I think then the but-for test gives you a lot of, ammunition to show why you're doing the deal, what it's really costing the town and the city of College Park and its residents and the taxpayers. So it will be not necessarily a decision that my office wants to make, but I think we, just like Stephanie, our city attorney just indicated, we want to kind of give ourselves a little wiggle room and to apply a but-for test to every project. I think that would be a little tough, especially given the range and the appetite that you all have come back and said, hey, we want to consider, different kinds of projects to come to the city of College Park. So anyways, I just say that to say, give ourselves a little room on the but-for test. Mr. Young?
Sure. I'll just add a little bit there. One of the things that the council has asked us to do is really look at the different influences, and what we didn't have before as part of the revitalization tax credit program is asking for information from the developer, which the sources and uses of funds, their pro forma, all of those things are important to understand the dynamics of the deal. And so I think that's information that now we would be asking for and be required to evaluate a project where, before we didn't ask the developer for anything. But this is one of those things that I think is important to also have that, as Ms. Anderson has talked about, the flexibility, because you do not want to corner yourself into having specific language that kind of ties your hands.
All right.
That completely addressed my questions. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have Mr. Hugh and then Dr. Esters.
I'll try to keep this short. So in our listing of things that we would give a tax credit for, I think that we need to write in something along the lines of sustainable development, green sustainable development, and also I don't know if this is something we could discuss or consider as one of the proposed things that could be part of the tax credits is some sort of trade school, training. We're a town of higher education, but there are others that need education to get by in life other than through university accreditation. So something along the lines of that would be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
We on the training school thought we may not have included that in the tax credit profile, but we Dr. Esters and Mrs. Whitney sponsored the Crazy Kebab outfit. They're doing the chef school training, trying to get some of the adults to that don't want to go to school, you know, that don't want to go to an academic institution, something like that. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, I don't see a challenge in that. Do you?
No, and I think, just to make sure, we did include vocational training and workforce housing type properties. Is that capturing that kind of address? Okay.
Right. It's that the language is in there. Yeah.
I think we included LEED certification as well.
Right. LEED, yeah, and the sustainability language is there for LEED.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hill, that's all now. Finally, we have Dr. Esters. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I will be quick. A couple of things. I want to thank Mr. Williams for his work. I clearly see all that we have shared over time included in here, and that is really helpful and takes us in the right direction. I do want to remind myself as well as colleagues that because we do not have zoning authority, this is one thing that is a tool that we can use to help shape the city that we often talk about. So this should not be seen by any developer as something that is expected of us. It is something that we should give because it meets criteria that we as a city have determined we want to see. So I do think it's important for us to remember that. And to our student liaisons, I want to impress upon you the importance of continuing to have this conversation about your need for affordable housing with the University of Maryland. You have the opportunity to not only sit here, but to lend your voice to what is happening at the institution and through SGA. I don't see this as something that ends with anything that we as a city are necessarily doing on our own, but in collaboration, ongoing collaboration with the university. And I think your voices continue to be important in that conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, council member, for bringing that to our attention. That's certainly something that we will be looking into and can mention as well in our next week meeting with the student body president. Affordable housing is a big goal for his administration as well. So if there is any room for collaboration that we can find with the university, I think that might be something to explore. So thank you.
Thank you. Please, go ahead.
And thank you, Councilmember Estes, for bringing that point up. And to our student liaisons, when you have those discussions, it would be great if somebody from the council could be there as well, to lend an ear in regards to what we're thinking about as far as affordable attainable housing and how that will relate to the university taking its onus. We're trying to support you in closing the loop to find that.
Certainly. I'll be happy to attend along with Ms. Mitchell. Thank you. Mr. Michael. Mr. Williams, please go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to just say thank you to Ms. Anderson. I'm a hog for attention, but she did a lot of work on the ordinance, so thank you very much.
Thank you. She always does a good job.
Thank you. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. I see there is mention of affordable student housing, which is much needed because because the University of Maryland students body. But in this region, in the DMV area, and we have heard Mr. Reagan, Ms. Mitchell, you have attended many COG meetings, Council of Government meetings, and again we have been talking about affordable housing in general in this area because as every city, every town, every jurisdiction are on this topic to build more and more affordable housing. It's not only student. I don't see affordable housing in general is included unless I'm missing something.
Right. I think Attorney Anderson is talking about how we're going to get the task force, the Affordable Housing Task Force. We're going to work with them and try to define some of that. And I really do look forward to input from our students. I mean, tell us, talk to us about what you think.
Mr. Hugh?
Just a quick comment. You might have this information for us. How quickly did the flats sell out or create a waiting list that I've heard of already?
Oh, it's been fast. They again, for those who don't know, the tax credits that were used were state tax credits at 4% tax credits, and kudos to the Copeland family. They have a lot of experience, more than 25 years of doing these kind of projects. They know what they're doing. It's a great product. I don't know I know that we all are scheduled at some point to go for a tour, but it's a great product. And I think that when they say sold out of space if you're looking for immediate occupancy, but there may be a wait list that's not so long for interested residents and interested people who want to go over. And we have seen students as well try to go for tours. So, yeah.
Thank you. And there's a long list, and I see it so much so that there's a frustration in the people who have applied to.
Right.
Yeah, I see on Reddit and other social media platforms. It's a frustration. Thank you. Thank you so much for your work. I know.
Thank you all. Thanks for your support. Thank you.
So what's the next step? I see some changes already drafted, so that is going to come back, right?
So we'll come back for action, I'm asking? Introduction, yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back for introduction.
For introduction, okay.
Action, introduction, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. All right, so that's all we have. We are done with all the work session items, and now we have come to the request for status of future agenda items. There's quite a few of them came actually. Let's just start with who? Mr. Riggi, I saw there's one item from you. What was it?
Yeah, thanks. I sent around a request earlier today for an ordinance that would set a time frame for landlords to reach out to residents about renewal of their lease. It's called an early lease ordinance. That's something that I've discussed with our student liaisons, and I believe it would be beneficial certainly for tenants, but I also believe it could be beneficial for landlords as well, because it would clarify, kind of what the starting date is for those discussions, rather than have it being essentially the day after you sign a lease, which is what it is today. I'm aware that it's something that other college towns have done or are doing. So that's and I sent forth the form earlier today.
So this doesn't apply to only student housing; it applies to all rental properties.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed and abstention? This has been added. Thank you. What's next? Ms.
Ms.
Mackey.
So I sent actually two. I'm not sure how that happened, but it was for the same one. It's starting the discussion on the pedestrian safety on St. Andrew's Place.
Second.
It's pretty straightforward. Everyone likes pedestrian safety. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstention? Any opposed? So it's been added. You said two, but it's the same thing, right?
They were the same thing.
Oh. Mayor Pro Tem, did you add anything? Councilor Hernandez.
Oh, okay. For me, I've thought long and hard about how we as a city can grow and improve from a sustainability perspective. In an effort to partner with our great state of Maryland, I'd like to propose a pilot program to increase energy efficient homes in College Park and reduce the demand on the power grid, while also promoting the Maryland Empower program. More efficient homes save money for the residents, reduce the demand on our power grid, and decrease our overall carbon footprint as a city. For context, the Maryland Empower program is a state and consumer-funded program that helps households with cost via discounts and tax credits for the installation of energy conservation measures in their homes. If you look at your Pepco bill, you will see that we're all paying into this program, but so few people are using it. I'm proposing an agenda item for a pilot program that the city would fund to help cover the associated cost with the initial audit. This ranges anywhere from $100 to $150. In an effort to encourage homeowners to explore more energy efficient manners. With the changes in the federal and state tax credits, I'd like for us to discuss and consider this item as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. Huh? Dr. Estes, do you have a question? You want to support it? Please go ahead with your question. Please go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Hernandez, if this is a program that is being sponsored by the state and it's not being utilized, is this initiative something that we should be doing as a city, or should we be encouraging individuals to learn more about the existing program and directing them in that way?
Well, the initial cost barrier is the cost associated with the audit. So typically when somebody is going to renew, whether it be their water heater or their HVAC system, or even just introducing additional insulation measures in a home, they'll go and they'll just pay for those programs, usually just out of, like, just directly, hey, I'm gonna insulate my house, and they'll, without ever visiting the tax incentives that the state is funding. The initial barrier is usually $150 that you have to do beforehand, and a certified inspector for Maryland needs to actually go to your home to check it, and then they'll provide you the audit findings.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Dr. Estes. Okay, thank you. Is there a question?
Yeah, no, I just want to comment, follow up on this suggestion here that this is kind of something that the Committee for a Better Environment has talked about and hasn't acted on over 10 years ago, before I got on council the first time. I did hold a workshop very similar to this to educate our residents of the rebates and the value of being energy efficient. At the time, we were trying to promote, take out the mystery of solar ownership, solar panel ownership. And the first step is with becoming energy efficient. So this is a long overdue conversation that CBE has bounced around, and I think we need to kind of encourage them to pick this up, and it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you're supporting. So you have a motion, right?
I motion.
A second, Mr. Hill? Seconded?
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone wants to talk about it? Before I take the vote, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so it's been added, so you can have more discussion when.
Well, hopefully we just go through it.
Let's do it. All right, finally.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor and
Mitchell.
colleagues, I didn't put a form in because I just thought of the idea right now. And this idea is to my student liaison and deputy student. See, they're not listening. See, they're not even listening to us. Leonard. Oh, no.
They're listening, they're listening. Just look at
all
her.
ears, right? As we talk about, we're talking about affordable attainable housing, something that I think if they are willing to do, I think it would be great for us, the council and Student Government Association, to have a sit-down meeting. One, to introduce ourselves to each other. Number two, to have the vision of what the SGA president would want, and as well as the American tell the SGA the vision of the city council, and see how we can collaborate. So,
Good idea.
I think that's a really great idea. I just wanted to clarify as well how you envision going about it, because I know in the past, had city officials like visit like during a general body meeting, and that way they could meet not only the president but directors and other legislators and that sort of thing. So do you envision it being like something like that, or some other sort of thing where having separate meetings, maybe the student body president or here, or
No, I invite everyone here to City Hall, and we can all sit down and talk.
so inviting to City Hall?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I'll be sure to mention that in my meeting next week with Drew Bach.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Good idea. And something actually, I had the opportunity to be on campus in one of your SGA general body meetings as well. So that can happen as well in addition to what Ms. Mitchell has said. Yeah, I think some of us can go together.
Yep.
All right, great ideas. Anything else? I don't think I've seen any other applications. All right, so we have come to the very end of the meeting, and so is it time for comments from the audience? We do not have anyone here. We still have actually 8 residents online. Thank you for your patience. If anyone wants to speak, please raise your virtual hands. Don't see any. Let's come back to the council, and this is the very last item before we adjourn. Comments from Mayor, Council, and Student Liaison. I start with my Councilmember Rigg on my left.
Well, I thought I was getting, what I would like to do is give another 20-minute long speech on rental regulation, but instead, I think I'll pass.
You have until 1 hour until midnight. So. Ms. Mackey.
Yes, I'd like to just encourage my colleagues that went to MML to talk with us and possibly bring something to the council that we learned from MML that we'd like to share in a work session or something. Thank you.
So it's a great idea. We go to our conferences and spend our taxpayers' dollars, and I think it is a good thing when the memories are still fresh. We gather our ideas and share among ourselves. And I mean, there's lots of great ideas actually discussed. Thank you, Ms. Mackey. Ms. Mitchell.
Well, Ms. Mackey, are you talking about something social or educational?
Education.
Educational, okay.
Just for me, it's just so we can move forward. Like there were some really wonderful things shared at MML, and I'd like to see the city move forward on some.
And on that note, I want to say that I appreciate the leadership of MML because each conference each summer has transformed into something different. And this summer they had the opportunity to have Mr. Shriver from Special Olympics, who was part of the Kennedy Shriver clan, to talk about dignity. And I think that is something that is very impactful, and I think it would be great if we can have a future discussion about that at another council meeting. And happy 4th of July, College Park.
July 4th. Yeah, thank you. And I definitely missed MML this year because, yes, yeah. So certainly I can share some of the ideas, but I also want to talk to you guys. It looks like I saw your photos on the social media, but I'd like to talk to you about all the great ideas. So I had an opportunity to have a meeting with our governor. So he called some of the mayors while he was in MML. So I joined online. So it's a good meeting. Thank you. And Mr. Rigg and I had an opportunity to attend the Board of Licensing Commissioners hearing. That was an interesting one on the proposed license that the city council as a body opposed. So we basically spoke in line with the letter we sent. So thankfully they delayed it, postponed it, but they haven't denied it yet. So let's hope for the best. Thank you. Mr. Hill? Oh, sorry, I forgot my online colleagues. My apologies. Ms. Whitney first, right?
Thank you. I just wanted to announce one thing. The City of College Park Restorative Justice Commission has announced their year-end celebration, a celebration of Lakeland history, resilience, and coming restoration. The AARM will share the final harms report, the first one in Maryland, and recommendations for Lakeland repair. So that will be on Sunday, July 20th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then the other thing I wanted to share was one thing that I was really excited about that I learned at MML was it was at an Academy graduate class that I hadn't had the opportunity to attend before, and they talked about different ways to measure fiscal resilience for municipalities. And there is one way that's called an urban financial resiliency measure, and it is a way to calculate basically a score, you know, to see how healthy you are as a municipality, and it allows you to compare yourselves to neighboring municipalities. And I think it would be a useful tool, a way for, you know, our Director of Finance to communicate to council and to residents, you know, how we're doing and why we're making some of the decisions we have. So it was very informative, and I was very appreciative to be able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, great idea. I'll call you.
Motion to suspend the rules to continue the meeting.
I say 11 o'clock. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? We'll be done in a minute. Thank you. Ms. Whitney, you're done, right? Dr. Esters.
Pass.
And Mr. Hill?
I just wanted to bring attention to this. I don't think it was mentioned this evening, but beginning Monday, July 7th, children up to 18 years old can receive free meals at 16 open sites, 8 schools, and 8 community locations. No enrollment, no ID, or registration required. The information is on our site, and I hope that anybody out there who is in need can take advantage of this Prince George's County School program.
Yeah, and thank you, staff, for promoting this. I saw in the weekly bulletin. So thank you, Mr. Hill. Mr. Hernandez, your last comment, then I'll adjourn.
Yeah,
sorry.
I know that we've been out for a little bit, but I wanted to thank and congratulate all the graduates, all from UMD, from Prince George's County Community College, Monarch Preschool, and Hollywood had their graduations around the time that we went away, and I never congratulated them. So thank you all for the invitations and the staffs and taking care of our youngest residents. I just want to make a quick comment on MML. Always a great opportunity to go and speak with our colleagues from other municipalities. You get to learn a lot from other folks, kind of sit in the same seat and share some experiences and how to best deal with them. Just really grateful to have had that opportunity to go there and also listen to the governor speak. I want to just do a quick notice here, my closing remarks regarding the various storms that are happening. There's a lot of damage everywhere, to include from like trees being broken. But one of our residents in North College Park actually caught on camera a lightning strike right just north of Edgewood in Rhode Island. Check out my Facebook to see that video. This is a plug, soft plug. All right, yeah, everyone else, have a good night, College Park.
Thank you. Let's go to student liaison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly after this meeting, we have a lot to follow up on, and we definitely will do so with our meeting with the student body president next week. Again, as stated, we created the advisory council applications, and we're going to be working on distributing that out to the student population and hopefully have a rolling admission kind of structure to get more students added in throughout the summer and going into the fall. And we also hope in the next few weeks to get up our social media page on Instagram as well. We already had the photos done for that, and really excited to get to work on that. So, yeah.
Fantastic ideas. I'm looking forward to Deputy Student Liaison. Bujma?
I don't have anything else to add. He said it all.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep up the good work, and I'm very impressed what you're doing. Finally, Mr. Young, final comments?
Just one thing. I just wanted to bring to the council's attention that Next July 8th meeting, we will have a presentation on the harms report from the Restorative Justice Commission and consultant, so to discuss that. So it's very intriguing, I'll tell you that.
Did you, have you seen any draft?
Yes, I've seen the final. Yeah.
So
And
this
it'll-
is
it'll-
a
it'll be
Columbia
in the-
University report.
It'll be in the packet as well prior to the meeting, so you'll have a chance to look at that. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Prior to that going out.
Yeah, if you could please send a little bit early so that we can get enough time to study it. Thank you so much for the heads up. All right, looks like that's all we have.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no abstention? So we are adjourned. Good night, College Park.